and gentlemen, and welcome to the 447th episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am the Clown Prince of Podcasts, Tress now, and I'm joined by...
Gojira Taylor Field.
Ooh, oh, Godzilla! I love that song. You don't like my rendition of...
That was good. I'll give you that.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it is a two-hander newscast. Kirklin gets a day off today. It is his birthday week, so we'll get to see him later. Well, we'll probably get to see him for... who knows who makes it for both. I don't know what his birthday plans are. You'll see him later on this week, and then you can give him some birthday love. So that's his birthday day. I don't actually know what fucking day it actually is, but that's fine.
I totally forgot it was his birthday, period. I usually rely on Facebook to tell me that.
Doesn't give a shit about you. That's fine. You don't need to worry because he needs to enjoy this week because next week comes February 4th where I'm going to be kicking his ass up and down for the sports championship. My goodness, Geek First New Level is very close. Our first Geek First Gauntlet event of the year. I'm ready. I'm ready to have 1, 2, 3 titles all around me. Just gonna be so heavy and walking around like, oh my goodness. But we got that. We got news last week. I think we had a cast. I think it went Sunday to Sunday. I think it was 7 days, maybe even 8 days a week, and we're continuing. Even then, I don't think there's. I can't remember the last time we didn't have a podcast on the feed, so it's a good thing for people. Hopefully, if not, then. I apologize. You're at the wrong place. But, Taylor, where can they find all that glorious goodness when we're putting it out there?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us via internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter, and GeekVerse on our Facebook. Be sure to check us out on the Facebook because there will be a fan-based community poll that will be coming back, and Dylan may or may not have guessed it. It remains to be seen.
Yeah, I can't believe that. For months, all of us have been saying, like... We've been trying to guess what it is, and he just came in like nothing and just got it.
Second try. Yeah, he just landed it. I'm surprised no one else could kind of solve it. It's I'm not a hard puzzle to crack.
Yeah, I guess I just thought that was a bowl. I thought you'd be timing Bionicles with something like when it made it come back.
Oh, you spoiled it! No.
Well, he said it. He said
I know,
it.
but I was shilling out that cast. Like, go listen to that other episode.
Oh man, that's a me. That's a my bad. I'm not on my A game. I feel like that always happens. People, message me when I'm about to go air. I'm gonna blame you. You're probably listening, Brent, asking for some log information. I'm blaming you, motherfucker, for throwing off a game. No, it's all good. I just, it was a busy Monday for myself, but I'm excited to talk about some news. So yeah, Taylor, out there, Facebook, where you want to go. Patreon is the best way to support us because not only you get ad-free, exclusive, and early episodes. You get to support this show. You get to support things like After 9, like our retrospectives we do, like our comic versions, which I can tease because I don't know if it's going to be releasing next week, but Patrons, you're going to get that early because we're going to be doing Batman Year 1. I'm really, really excited. You guys, I don't even know if you probably heard it mentioned a few times, but I don't think you guys even know like how of a substantial, like huge comic book this is. Like almost every Batman fan or director or creator is always like cites this as like an inspiration for the character and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to get your guys' thoughts because I don't think you guys have ever read a Batman one, and definitely not this one. So I thought, this is a perfect place to start because it's kind of like a semi-origin and stuff. So I'm, I don't want to ask your spoil. I don't want to ask you how. I don't know. Are you excited to talk about it? That's what I'll ask you.
Like I read all Year 1, and I've got like a quarter left of the next one that we're reading after that.
Well, tune in to comic book versions. If you don't know, comic versions is where I'm the experienced, general in the bedroom, where I'm the comic book store, really, taking Kirklin and Taylor, who have not read these comic books, and we're, giving them a good time. I don't know what the fuck. I'm batting 100 right now. Go ahead.
So far, this is definitely like peak. I love this actually a lot more than some of the MCU ones that we've done in the past. Like I think Year 1 is definitely comics. Like, yeah, the Year 1 storyline I really liked. It was just so enthralling. I was super invested into it, but I'll save a lot more of my thoughts for when we get to that episode.
First of all, good to see Maddie in chat. We're going to be answering some of his questions. That's what you can also... Man, Maddie, you're close. I almost hit the put him in a timeout button. That was really close. I'm really sorry about that, Maddie. But he sent some Patreon questions, which you can do. Any tier when you join Patreon, go do that. But first of all, they're not MCU comics. They're Marvel comics. And second of all, that's,
What?
And
There's
second of all...
outside of MCU?
It's just because it's Batman. Batman's better than all. So yeah, I'm really. I don't even know if Kirkland's read them all. He like steamed through all through them. But yeah, we're doing 3 Batman ones in honor of Batman. It's gonna be a really good time. What else we got? We got Boba Fett reviews every week, man. I'm excited for Boba because I hope tomorrow's gonna be like a big juicy one. So we got Boba Fett happening. We do Peacemaker every week, which is actually doing pretty well. I was kind of surprised. I look at the numbers last episode. Not that I thought it'd do bad, but just like, oh, okay, that I will take those numbers for Peacemaker. So I think it's like people are enjoying it more than they thought. I think that seems to be the general like conception. Like, oh yeah, I'll check it out, and then I feel like people are really interested into it. So go check out After 9. That just dropped on the feed. Tons of good stories. We had a good potato chip debate. We talked about how the podcast almost ended. We talked about is Kirklin a bad boyfriend. Really, really fun. Thank you to everybody. April, Maddie, Carl, Kyle, and stuff like that, who took free time to join everything. It was a really good time, and I can't wait to do it because we'll be doing it monthly again. So that's always a good stuff. That's where you go on Patreon, Phase 4 or Phase 2 and higher. You get the After 9 one. So I'm trying to think. Links down below. Podcast network, all the feeds. Got to get in the news because I feel like I'm tripping on my words. I don't know what it is. I really don't know what it is. I'm not in a rush. It was just a busy day. I guess that happens when work is busy. Your mind's always running and whatnot. So you're off work, you come here and whatnot. I had a good dinner. Had some cauliflower wing bites. It was good. Yep.
Cauliflower wing bites. What is a cauliflower wing?
Oh hey, Wonder Meg. Nice to see you. Well, that sounds like a fucking stupid thing. You know what I just did, Taylor? When you get popcorn at the movies and they're like, enjoy your show, and you go, oh, you too. That's what I just did to Wonder Meg. I said, nice to see you, but nice to see you virtually at least. But cauliflower wings, they're like, so they're cauliflower breaded, and they're supposed to be like, how I discovered this when I stopped eating meat is they're supposed to give you the sensation of chicken wings, like kind of the feeling.
Oh, so this is how you get rid of the wings on that poll thing I put in the Discord.
100%, yeah. What did you?
Wings.
So this is a quick one, but whatever. This is what we do here, GeekVerse. You put in some. What did you do? You did. It was like take out. There was 5 options, and it's like you delete one and get rid of one forever. And it was. What were? Do you remember the 5?
It was tacos, wings, bread, burgers, and what was the last one?
Wings. Was it wings?
Wings was in there. It was taco, wings, bread, burgers, but I don't remember the last one.
Yeah.
The last one, just gotta get. Pasta.
Pasta. Okay, I had those wings the other day. They're good. Yeah, they are good. And so I've discovered. So I used to home make them, and they are really good, but they take a lot of time. You gotta make the batter. You gotta get the sauce. You gotta cook the cauliflower, multiple bakes and stuff like that. But what I found is at Costco, they just sell like pre-made ones. Now, I still prefer mine because they're homemade and everything like that, but still, they are pretty good. So I'm excited to kind of keep getting those. And then, yeah, I got one of the rings because, yeah, I've had something where that is the sensation. The only sensation I really missed when I was not eating meat was pulled pork. That was a really tough one. And I think we've talked about before, they have this thing called grapefruit, which is like a similar thing, but it's just like, it does have the feel, but once you get the taste, it just doesn't get there, What did you pick?
I put a lot of thought into this, and I kept thinking like the bread.
A lot of thought, guys.
I'd probably would go more along the bread way because I really don't eat bread, and I mean I could eat a burger without the bread. I could substitute it for like even like lettuce because I know you can use like lettuce buns and stuff like that as an alternative. And those burgers are pretty actually good as well. And that way you get to keep like hard shell tacos because that's not technically bread, and you get to enjoy everything else. So.
Yeah, bread would probably be second, but I love a good grilled cheese. I love a good egg salad. I love, when I am having cold cuts and stuff like that, like a Subway or Quiznos, like a nice, like, what is it, zesty Italian Parmesan bread, like toasted. Oh, that's some good stuff right there. So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, join the Discord, and that's why you can talk about these certain things. Or you can be like everyone else who's probably giving us 1 star. Like, these guys are talking about bread and pasta. I'll have to sacrifice wings. Tacos for life, Maddie says. 100%. Hansi, if you're listening to this, like, yeah, but you don't think tacos should be the one? Tacos definitely don't go, right?
No, because, I mean, if it's between the two, you can put the chicken in the tacos. You can't put the taco in the wings. So.
No, yeah. Hansi, I saw tacos, and I just dropped the Clint Eastwood gift. She just a terrible person all around, Hansi. She steals stuff. She's a criminal. She doesn't like tacos. She didn't join for the first After 9 in the new year. Don't think we didn't notice, But that's fine. You know what's fine, Taylor, is we are a couple weeks, well, I don't know. We're like 2 weeks away from it being a month away to the Batman. And I just want to say a month. I just want to get to February 4th so I can say the Batman is a month away. I'm praying for Maddie and I'm praying for Travis Hines that their theaters open and they can see and stuff like that. But we have lots of little details. We got lots of fun stuff tonight. We're talking about this. We're talking about the Multiverse Avengers. We're talking about some rumors of Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill that people are like getting mad about, but also the people are calling bullshit on the Scooper. And I'll kind of weigh in because I want to get your opinion on this new Scooper. And if people they're kind of thinking she might be a not the highest tier one. So we'll get into that. We got Godzilla to talk about. So the Batman, very anticipated. We are in like full on like advertising mode. I saw today they have a calzone at Little Caesars shaped as
I
a
saw
bat.
that. I was blown away by this thing. I gotta get it.
It was so funny too because Chris shared it and I was like, oh yeah, give me that. And Chris was like, oh yeah, Little Caesar, not for me. It was in GOA chat. Me, Joe, Brent, we were all like, oh man, we want this pizza. Like I love Little Caesars. I would become a full MCU stan if Benry and Henry showed up there. LOL, says Wonder Meg. Yeah. I would hope you would, but then you don't know what could happen to them. But we'll talk about that. I luckily I don't think anything substantial is going to come from Ben. I think Henry is prime for the team, but we'll talk about that. But anyway, so pizza, Little Caesars. You're a Little Caesars guy.
Little Caesars, that's like the classic elementary school go-to. It was something that, they would order in like one Friday every month. It would be kind of like pizza day at our school. Little Caesars was it.
And then you realize how cheap it was. That's why they did it.
That's when just cheap fucking school system.
Oh yeah, now I knew too. Every time we went to the beach on Mondays, my mom had a bunch of pizzas. Like, oh man, look at all these pizzas. And then I grow up, find out they're all like $7. I'm like, oh man, but they were still. It's funny, as a child, I did not like Little Caesars, but then as I got older, yeah, because I gotta get the deep dish with the stuffed crust. That's the good stuff. That is. Oh
they
my
got
God.
good breadstick or cheesy sticks, like
100%. Those are the best.
Gooey.
Me and Emma have to get them every time. One time I accidentally ordered the garlic bread instead of those. So disappointing,
I haven't had actually like indulged in Caesars probably for like 5 years. Ever since I met my wife, I haven't gone back. I've only done like Boston pizza and like gourmet pizzas. So
Red Swan. So let's talk about the Batman before people get too mad. So this topic never gets out of hand and never gets people mad. Now, I want to find the full quote here because I saved it. Well, I didn't save it. I just tweeted and whatnot. But I had other Passon quotes. Passon had an interview come out this week. Obviously, like we were saying, the Batman's in full press tour mode where it is, hey, pizza boxes, hats, TV spots of the Yin Yang, YouTube ads. They literally, which we're going to talk about in a second, they literally put a Batman clip as an ad spot on a YouTube video. Like we are in full on. This is where I actually do believe, like, okay, we're not delaying this movie. I really don't think, because it's just like we're so close and we're doing so much promotion. It seems silly that they would do that. But anyway, so Passon has an interview come out. Says a lot of things, and I'll read some of his quotes after. But he says a lot of things, but this was the big thing, and obviously it started a conversation because probably ever since Nolan's it's always been a thing, but Nolan to Snyder's to this, there's always been this conversation, right? The Nolan movies had this big thing of, I don't kill. Now, we're going to talk about that in a second, but then the Snyder movies obviously laid heavily into this as a broken Batman. He's on a different path, divided the fan base, and now we're kind of back to, okay, we have Passon saying these comments. Maddie Sags, theaters are open to Ottawa January 31st. I'm happy for you can see it. Let's just hope things don't go to shit. Let's just hope Russia doesn't kill us all, and then we don't get to see the movie, Let's see. I can't wait to talk about this later, ass bubs. The ARM Marvel Studios spoiler subreddit recently did a massive poll about Scooper tiers, so there'll be definitive Scooper tier list coming out soon. Oh, I gotta weigh in on that. I know Hines says I gotta make a Scooper. I have to. Or pass. He must not kill. It can be interpreted in two ways. Either he only wants to inflict the appropriate punishment, or he wants to kill, and his self-control prevents him from doing so. So, like I said, we've been on a big, massive journey. Now, I'm gonna Taylor, because I'm the Batman guy, I'm gonna open up here. I'm gonna say my thoughts here. So, I'm a big guy. I mean, I'm a big guy. Wait, I hit my 220 weight or my 200 weight. I'm not a big guy. I'm a small fry compared to many others. But I am a big proponent of the no kill rule. The no kill rule because of a few reasons. Number one, I just always think it makes for a better story. Now, there is stories where Batman kills and they can be good, and I'll get into that in a second. But I always just like that there is, well, of course, you get to keep the villains alive, but there's always this something where this guy, he has so much rage. He is sometimes the pinnacle of rage and pain, and maybe if he killed someone, that could unleash all that. But at the same time, maybe it could make it worse. And that's why I love that there's this dichotomy of he's so rageful and he's so angry, but he still holds back from like kind of committing that ultimate, I won't say, I guess it's ultimate sin, but it's a crime, but you know what I mean, that ultimate step that you can't come back from. And that's what I've loved in many comic books, where whether it's the Red Hood movie that they even hit this on, whether it's Year One, which we're reading right now, lots of things hit on, hey, I would love to kill somebody, but I'm not that. I'm not a killer. It would make it easier. Like I said, there's been quotes of, hey, I think about every day of killing the Joker, but I thought, hey, if I take that step, I can't go back. So again, for story reasons. And two, I also like it just because they always say Batman's the peak of the human condition, right? And people always say like, oh, well, how could you not kill someone in this situation? To me, it's always like, okay, Batman's supposed to find a way to do it. Now, I had come to this conclusion after BVS and Suicide Squad, where there's so much arguments of like, oh, this is not Batman, this is not Batman. But then it's, whether it was myself or talking with people, it's just like I've said this before, but there are hundreds of versions of Batman. So there's not any version of Batman that's comic accurate. You know, you could find something for anything. There's one fucking comic book where Batman is feeding rats to Robin as like a way to train him. I don't like that at all. Not my style. But that's the thing with so many adaptations. You just kind of have to zero on what is your Batman. Probably the closest thing to my Batman is what Scott Snyder does, or the animated series. Scott Snyder, by the way, he's a comic book writer. Did you laugh at that or something? Like, he retweeted me once. He retweeted me once. Yeah, I dressed up as his Joker. It was very cool. It was a life-altering moment. No, it was just a fun thing on Halloween. So I'm a proponent for Batman is trying not to kill. That is my Batman. I don't debate it anymore. Me and Clay, of course, got into some debate earlier this week, but then he proved folly because he also thinks that manslaughter is murder. So, you know, I have screenshots and receipts. So one day when Clay ever tries to bust out and debate me, I didn't listen to DC Lines, but I'm sure he threw some shots at me. I literally have a screenshot of him saying manslaughter is murder and talking about that's his opinion. It's a law, fool. So I am a fan of Batman when he says, I'm not going to kill, but of course there's probably going to be some collateral damage. And that's what I want, where if Batman is fighting a guy and he takes down a guy and he's on his knees and he could rid him of this universe, right? I like him to slap the cuffs on him, take him away. I don't want the Batman that's going to execute him. I don't want Batman's going to cut off his head, break his neck, whatever it may be. And I know people bring this all the time with Nolan and whatnot too, where it's like, oh, that was his rule, but he was such a hypocrite. And that does happen. But for a few examples where in Batman Begins, and people use this all the time, which I don't understand. There's this moment where he's training with the League of Assassins, right? And they say, you're going to cut this dude's head off. And he's like, well, this is not really what I signed up. I thought we were going to just bring criminals down. And like, no, you have to do this. And then they're not letting him leave. And they're pretty much insinuating they're going to kill him if he does not kill this man. So what does he do? He takes this thing, he flicks it in the fire, and it big explosions, right? So everybody goes wild and says, oh, he killed all these dudes. No, in my opinion, he was trying to escape, and there was collateral damage. Even when he tries to leave, and fake Ra's al Ghul goes to fight him, right? And he's fighting him, and then a log hits him. Now, if that guy was still alive, and he was like, help me, Bruce, and Bruce walked over and just fucking stabbed him in the eye, then that would be killing. Jump to an hour and a half later in Batman Begins when Ra's is on the train and Batman breaks a window and he says, I'm not going to kill you, but I'm going to save you either. That's not good. That is him pretty much killing the dude, you know? And that's somewhere I go, okay, I don't like that. And then even in Dark Knight, people go, oh, well, he killed Two-Face. The whole fucking point of that movie is Joker keep hinting, you're going to break your own rule tonight. I'm going to break you, blah, blah, blah. What does he do? He does break them because Batman fucking retires for 8 years. And even in my opinion, he's trying to save the kid, and Harvey Dent dies as a casualty of that. To me, when Batman has a no-kill rule, to me, that is, I'm not going to be an executioner, I'm not going to be the judge, jury, all that sort of deal. And that's why I like that he's saying this. And I love whatever he says, as far as if it's because he wants the criminals to be locked up or he wants to kill them, but he's holding back. That's what I picture. It's the same way, you know, I'm not trying to take more shots. Like Clay said, like, how can you like a really angry, obsessed Batman, but you don't want him to kill? because that's what makes it even better, is because like he's so deranged, but he still has that one thing that he won't do, and that's the one thing that separates him from everybody else. And that's where he's just obsessed with going out there. He's obsessed with beating criminals to a pulp. He even says one of his comments where he brought past and played him in a way where he must have some enjoyment of going out there and beating people up, and I like that. He has thoughts of slitting these guys' throats, but he doesn't do that. He has thoughts that when he goes into a fight, he pictures that guy is the same person that killed his mother and father every fight. That is the shit I love. Everything he said. So for me, it just makes me... Robert Pattinson may do some stuff where some guys look like they're dead or may die, and I might go, yeah, that happens. But as long as there is not a direct, hey, he has killed this man with a gun, with a batarang, I'm fine, because the intention is there not to kill. The same way I would hope the intention is, as a cop every day when they go out, is not to kill somebody. Something may happen, but to me, Batman saying, okay, he's not going to kill, I love that that's back. This is something that was a big hang-up for me, and I am a fan of the darker tales. Well, okay, you can't take it. He has that one bad day. He kills someone. He's a bit darker. But I do need a bigger story, and it has to be all around that. With BVS, I didn't enjoy that because I think there were other reasons I really need this, because I wish we maybe had that as the whole movie with Batfleck and not just a chapter of it. So I know I said lots. I'll respond more when Taylor Field goes. But Taylor Field, how do you feel about this? Because like I said, we went from Nolan, again, no kill rule, but there's debatable stuff. He kills Talia al Ghul. Again, in my life, if Talia has a bomb and it's going to kill every man, woman, and child in Gotham, and Batman has to shoot her car to stop her, and that car ends up killing her, like the crash kills her, I'm fine with that one. To me, it's like, that is, I don't want Batman killed unless there's absolutely no reason to do it. And even then, if he could not kill them, great. That's even better. But we went from Nolan's Batman really having that, okay, and it's been the comic books before. It's a spoiler, but Taylor, you just read a comic book where one of the first, or the second issue, Batman says, no, I'm not a killer, and that's like a huge theme. And I'm sure while you're reading the second one, that's also a big theme, right? As far as he doesn't want to cross that certain line. So that's where people might get mad, but it's been in literature for years and years. Nolan obviously big time adapted it. Keaton did not have that. Keaton was the fucking Punisher. He was taking people out left, right,
he pushed
and
that clown into the sewer with that TNT bomb. I'll never forget that.
The worst thing was he took the bomb off someone else and he put that on the guy and then he pushed him. He could have just pushed him and defeated him, But the same thing, I can look and go, okay, I still like Affleck, I still like Keaton, I have flaws with that, but you have within these kind of decade, Nolan hitting very heavy no kill roll. BVS, the whole plot line was Batman's gone bad. He's taken justice in his own hand. He might be murking these people. He's branding people. And now you have Pattinson back at it where he's saying, we have a no kill rule. How do you feel about, what do you look for in a Batman and stuff like that?
I envision a world where Batman does not kill people. I like very much. So the whole dynamic of Bruce Wayne just kind of coming face to face with Batman and this alter ego, and just realizing hey, the thing that separates me from the criminals is I will have that constraint. I'm not going to kill anyone. He's not Peacemaker. Or Peacemaker will go out and
no, Batman's a pussy.
Anyone. Yeah, he's a pussy apparently. But I think that's again what really just makes this hero very unique and valuable. Where you have other heroes that sure they hardly even beat up the bad guy. They beat up the supervillains, but they hardly beat up the bad guy. They just kind of detain them, let the cops deal with them and stuff, and they go out and save the day. That's that. But Batman is a character that is so traumatized and damaged. And again, I'm not a Batman expert like you are. I'm just speaking from what I've started to learn from this character. He's damaged, he's traumatized, and he's trying to control his fear and exert that onto his enemies so that he can be the good guy. And you rarely see it in instances where he's actually really helping the small individual, and I like when that's represented. And I do think that for him to be broken, I'm not saying that I totally disagree with when he kills, because like you mentioned, when he breaks his one rule in the Dark Knight, it's heavy, it's really significant. And again, yeah, like you said, he goes into retirement for 8 years. I think that when you have a dynamic like that, that's really powerful. It's represented with Ben Affleck's Batman. I kind of look at it as okay, whatever the Joker did to Robin, it fucked him up, and he's now killing people. So if they can weave it into the story, then I'm totally fine with that. But if we're looking at Robert Pattinson's Batman, I don't need it right off the hop, him just going around pulling a Glock and just gunning criminals down. I want him, again, it's the whole starting out situation. I want him just to be new and just to be very strong on where he stands, and then have that kind of maybe be distorted or warped as his progression goes on through these films. Maybe they can explain and dive into that a little bit more. But just out of the get-go here, keep it low key, down to earth. I'm not killing criminals, so.
Well, and that's the thing for me, and that's where and of course I bug Clay, even though I kicked his ass in Rocket League one time. But like for me, the manslaughter argument is like it sounds weird, but I am fine with Batman doing manslaughter. I am fine collateral damage because that's just these people have put themselves in these situations. To me, it's like if Batman could save a person, he could. It's the same way as in Dark Knight with Harvey Dent. I take it as he had nothing left to do. Maybe he could have threw a batarang. Maybe he could have backclawed, but he was shot. He wasn't thinking, stuff like that. And he's just concerned with saving this kid. So I think that for me, it's as long as he's, like I said, not the executioner. I think, like you said, is okay, if he does kill someone, I think that's better later on down the series because you can get to, maybe that was a mistake and he went back. And that's a good thing. Like, to me, the killing, you don't have to because we've seen that, like, the trailer before where at one point, like, Batman's just, like, railing down on this guy and Selina looks, like, really scared. You don't have to have him kill someone to have him be fearful or be anger or damaged. No tattoos intended. And I think it's very interesting what they're going to do with the character. Derpy Game was saying, this Batman reminds me of Year One or his origins where he's very reckless and very brutal. 100%, but I think that's where the two things we've talked about with that one, which we'll talk about in the clip we're going to talk about, I think it's going to show like, okay, I do have to maybe have Bruce Wayne as a cover, and two, I think this might give him an appreciate of life or try to find a way to, okay, I like you said there, I don't want to be the criminals. I can be better than them, and that's just what I'm hoping. Because again, I think it just makes more of an interesting story. I don't know what's going to happen in this trilogy. Obviously, if we're getting a trilogy, I think we will. Everyone's very excited. Like the anticipation is very big right now. Espo says no killing, just lifelong paralysis. And yeah, it's like you can argue what's worse, but it's like the same thing. Like you could have that argument all day, and that's a political thing, right? Where a lot of people say the reason you don't kill people is because if you put them in a cell for a whole lifetime, that could be worse than death, right? Because they're having to live that out. But at the same time, I go, that person still gets to live. They still get to breathe. And this is where people I don't think always understand. Like me, they always just assume. But like I'm someone, I've said before, I'm a legitimate real life supporter of the death penalty. I am. If you've done something and you've completely proven guilty, there's no ifs, ands about it. It's time for you to go. I don't think you should have any spot here. I don't think anything. I think lethal injection is very lucky for some of these people. Like some of these people are awful. And that's where I'm completely different. And that's what I mean for Batman. I am on the side of, okay, it makes a better story. And as somebody that's a big fan of that, I'm a fan of, okay, I guarantee you when we see this movie and then a year after there's going to be that YouTube video of Robert Pattinson kills how many people in the Batman movie. The same way Bales did, the same way Keaton's does, stuff like that, the Batman kill count. Sure, but as long as there's no moments like something of similar in BVS, which I'm fine with for that movie, I still wasn't a fan of it. And again, I also wasn't a fan of the BVS thing because at that point we were being told, hey, this is our new DCUU, where Snyder was like, oh no, I just want to make my 5 movies. So it was a very conflicting time where I was like, if we're getting a Batman for the next 10 to 15 years, I do kind of want him to be more in line with comic books where, yeah, there's times where he kills, but I feel like majority of the time he is on the slant of trying to do better and stuff like that. Trejo says, I like the different Batmans on screen have been different, makes Batman feel new each time. And 100%, because you look at that, what do we get? We have, yeah, exactly, the Batman kill count over 300 kills. Let's hope not. He'll be the most killing Batman. But like I said, it all goes in flows, right? Bales is supposedly trying not to, and here's my whole thing. Maybe this is the way I will phrase it from now on. It's not that I don't want a Batman that doesn't kill, because that's going to happen. I want a Batman that's intention is trying not to kill. Like that's his main goal. Bales, he was trying not to kill things. Some things happen. Some mistakes happen. Ben Affleck's was out the window. He had a mini arc as far as turnaround. The Batman now, and I like that Pattinson has multiple angles of how it could go. So I'm pretty excited. Let's see. Matty says all the early looks seem like Reeves nailed the dynamic of Batman being a real person and Bruce the Mask when he's talking to Alfred Massless as it is still Batman. I think 100%. I think everything we've seen from this just looks fantastic. So what would be interesting if he murdered someone but learned from it? That's no kill rule. I've seen that shut up before. It's tough because I feel like that would have to be all like on screen, and I don't know if they're going to do that, but let's see. Bale tried not to kill. Pattinson doesn't kill. Well, we'll see, but maybe Pattinson tried not to kill either, right? Because Pattinson says that, but again, someone like, okay, here's the biggest argument. That second trailer, I think, yeah, it's the second trailer when Batman hits Penguin's vehicle and it does like 10 million flips and everything like that. how are you going to argue that he knew Penguin was going to survive that? You know, like, and I guarantee you there's going to be some other guy on the side, some goon that gets hit, and his car's going to do the same thing. Be like, that guy is definitely dead. And that's where you go, okay, for me, it's the direct confirmation of the story, the actual story, not the, oh, look, that little guy in the background. No, what is the story being told? What is the writing? What is the character's dynamics here? You know, what is the choices you make? I don't need like the little stuff on the side. Let's see here. You know what? Let's take our first ad break. We have some fun things we got to add. We actually have a sponsor for a podcast that you want to check out. So we will be right back. And we're back. So I wanted to, let's see. Let's see. He could definitely be lying. Okay, here we go. This is what I just never know with you, S-Bubs. We're back. And I didn't know S-Bubs. You never know what he's going to say. I guess that's what we know now. He could definitely be lying or not wanting to spoil an important kill. Werewolf interview tactics. 100%. And that's the fun of it, right? Because after he could kill somebody, be like, well, I didn't want to tell you, right? But we have a scene. Now, can you find this scene? It's the Batman funeral scene on YouTube, Taylor, and bring it up as a share screen possibly. Because while that happens, I'm going to bring up Matty Sake's question. Like I said, you can do this on Patreon. And he said, what is your ideal or dream opening for a Batman movie? Now, this is something where I've said before why I'm probably a big proponent of Reeves' movie so far, is because like I've always joked that I've written treatments for years and stuff like Batman and things I'd want to do with Batman. There's so many things that he's already done where I've been like, man, that's exactly how I do it. I don't know if it's going to be the case. There's something that feels, or sometimes it feels like the Penguin could be the opening scene of this movie, the chase. And I've always, because I'm a Bond guy, always thought it would be great if every Batman movie, if you did like a Harry Potter series or a trilogy, if the cold open was always him catching some criminal, but just some criminal that like meant nothing, like just like a side villain that's fun and open up the story, maybe set up a few things with the main story, but just like you could get like a Scarface there, you could get a Penguin there, you could get you know, like who else, you could get a Rupert Thorne there, you could get a Firefly, which is in background, like something, you could get a Man-Bat, like something that wouldn't be too crucial to the story, but just you're never going to use them perhaps. So let's see. I mean, Spider-Man killed someone in Tobey movies and learned from this with great power comes great responsibility. If they did something in the Batman movie, I dig it. And that's the same way where, okay, I don't want my Batman to kill, but okay, what's the story? Well, like if he does kill, what is the story? I'm some of that. I like BVS enough, but I didn't think that was the greatest story to do that with an aspect that I don't like. I thought it wasn't as well done as it could have been. So I trust Matt Reeves a little bit more. So I don't think Matt Reeves will be, or I don't think Penguin will be the starting scene unless he breaks out and that's how he shows up for the rest of the movie. He could easily, right? But I just wonder what it could be. Taylor, do you have any theories of what the opening scene of this movie could be? And to you, what do you think is like a dream? Like, what is your pitch? They come to you, Taylor. So how do you want to open a Batman movie?
Honestly, I would want it to be open similar to how we got Ben Affleck's Batman, without the branding and all that kind of stuff, but I want it to be horror-esque. I want just to see these criminals doing their thing. Heck, even be a total ripoff of the Ben Affleck thing where the cops are going in and they just like, oh my god, like it's here, or it's him, and it's just super scary. And like it could be a Hereditary moment where he's like crawling in the corner of the room or something, like just something terrifying. I just want to be immersed in that fear that these criminals are experiencing for the first little bit, and then we can get into the story.
S-Bub says, plus he has a show. That to me doesn't mean anything, though, because the show could either be a prequel or we know in Gotham, Penguin can just get out all the time. Like these criminals, like look at Gotham, you know, like that's what Peacemaker calls him a pussy for, right? You don't kill them, you put them back in, they get out. They put them back in, they get out. So I will preference this with two things right now. So we're at like the 35-minute mark. I'll probably write a time code or something, or you can do the cutouts. We're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about a TV spot, and we're going to talk about a clip that they released. I usually don't do this, but I was pretty hyped, and I just thought this clip was so good. I asked him if he'd be willing to talk about it. He said yes, so it's good he's not Kirklin who's going to bitch and complain like, oh, you're spoiling it for me, and then a week from now, Kirklin won't even remember it. But in that moment, we spoiled something for him. But this is a scene that they released on YouTube ads, like before video. Very strange. But and this is why I never thought, too, of like, why like I had no problem watching this scene, because this scene, pretty much all the things we've seen in trailers have been in this scene, but this was it in a row. So I just want to be like, okay, what is the feel of this scene? And man, this scene, we're gonna go like just like moment by moment, but this thing is fucking amazing. Now, I'm not gonna say, I saw one tweet, some people like, man, Robert Pattinson didn't even say a word. It's my favorite live action Batman performance. Okay, let's not go that far. Like he could open his mouth and sound like Pennywise from It, you know, like let's calm down. But I love everything about the scene, the tone, the that's what you were thinking of, weren't you, Taylor?
No, I'm just thinking like so many people probably like. I mean, you don't want to race to the finish line. Like, you have a nice significant other that you go out on a date with, and you get into the bedroom. And you just you don't just blow it at once. You gotta wait to and savor it, enjoy it, because there might be a few other things you enjoy a lot more than the fact that Robert Pattinson doesn't say a single line in this clip, which is great.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, maybe you could get like, what if there's another scene where he's doesn't say anything and it's even more action packed? I mean, you don't know.
Well, no, I think they just mean like this makes him better than the rest of the Batman. Not the best. This is the best scene in the movie. Like this is better than Bale already. This is better than Affleck. This
just because he doesn't say anything.
Well,
there's a whole movie with Nick Cage who doesn't say a single line, and that I think was saying, really excellent.
He's such a good actor. Look, he doesn't even say anything, which I agree with. But no, this scene, there's so many things I'll show of like why it's great. But I wanted a taste of like, hey, give me 2 minutes, like what it feels like to be in the Batman movie. And the fact that this clip is so good and it's only 2 minutes and we'll still have 2 hours and 50 whatever minutes after that is fantastic. Before we go into it, Derby's Gaming says, I want a narrative from Bruce's perspective like the opening from Year One. That's my dream. I think you could get something similar with what Matt Reeves keeps saying and talking about, which I'm excited to talk about in comic versions. I honestly want a Bond intro for Batman, as Bub says, just a song with really cool visuals that foreshadows story. I would fucking love if we got, and that's a preview to what I would want to do with Batman, is like if we had artists every year that would be singing a Batman song. I would love it if they just ripped that off from Bond, but that's fine. Taylor, before we bust open this clip, I know you watched it. What are you feeling about this clip so far? So like I said, lots of this has been seen in the trailer. This is the funeral scene, but this is it all, pretty much all together. There's probably maybe a few things missing for the actual movie, but this is at least 2 minutes of it together.
I just think that it really exposes Bruce's, you strip away the Batman, strip away the fear mongering and all that crazy stuff to criminals. I think at its core, it really displays like, throughout all the chaos, his main focus was just to protect the innocent. And in this case, this boy, I think that spoke volumes. As soon as that was executed, it was like, okay, next thing, dealing with the situation. So, And again, I love seeing his reaction to this, because this is obviously, I'm assuming, now he's taken up this mantle as Batman. I'm assuming this is his first kind of direct confrontation where someone is challenging him, and it's not just a regular criminal, not just a regular thug, but someone who has the means to know possibly his real identity and is just absolutely dangerous and psychotic, and is really pushing the boundaries of this confrontation to Bruce, especially in a public setting now.
100%. I agree with you there, where this feels like it's his first challenge. It feels like everyone else has just been a goon, a mobster, which, yeah, I'm sure they pose their own challenges, but somebody he could dispatch of. I think this is somebody, he knows how to take out the other people, right? He knows, okay, money, guns, all this stuff. When you have this guy leaving fucking riddles for you, I don't think that's what you're expecting. And they're doing like this in a semi-realistic world, right? So yeah, play the clip. So I'll tell you in a pause. We've seen this before, where the mayor gets in TV spots saying like, you don't really do much for the city, and it's fun. This is just so good. Like, after this moment, pause right there. So like you had brought this up already with the kid, but the fact that we can clearly figure out, and this is where people, they don't want to be spoiled, but it's a minute thing. Like, we've seen this before. This is a funeral. Someone's dead. This is clearly that person's son, right? And you have all in this moment, and this is where I do agree with people, like, acting or speaking, whatnot. In Past and Space, you just see like he is supplanting himself in that moment. He's been in that moment. This could be the same fucking church he could have been in.
You sure he's not looking at that kid like, oh, there's my Robin. I'm gonna recruit this kid.
But that is, you know what? Like, I don't think we're gonna get a Robin in this trilogy, but just even the scene right here made me want a Robin in this trilogy at some point, for him to feel that pain and connect with somebody. But it's so good where this mayor candidate is like talking to him, but like, oh, he's shooting for city. He gives zero fucks. He's not paying attention to her at all. He's just like staring there. Like, it's so good. But I just love that he zeroes in on the kid, and he's just like, man, like, that's where I am. It's such like a full circle motion there. So hit play now, because there's a really fun scene coming up here. So she's like, yeah, I should do something. Nothing reacting there. Pattinson has the same hair as me. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm not gonna slick it down like that though. It's a little too much. So more looking at the kid of just like, yeah, like, this is, like, it's just so good. And the music, obviously you can't hear the music right now, but okay, pause right there. again, hitting on just the Bruce Wayne Batman stuff. Now we're gonna get the scene where he hears Gordon talking with other cops, and you get that one cop who's like, "Hey, it's Mr. Wayne."
Well, that's so out of place. Like, what the fuck?
Well, it might not be though once we see the movie though, because I know what I feel like is gonna happen though is this guy, this happy cop, he's gonna be one of the cops that bites, and we're gonna feel really bad for. That's why that's gonna happen because everyone in Gotham's pretty down, pretty dreary. So far, you meet this because I agree with you. It's like, oh, he's like very like cheerful, like, oh, Mr. Wayne. I think this cop's gonna bite it, and that's gonna it's gonna piss off Gordon. It might piss off Wayne because he'll know he's a good cop. But what I love is he's there, he's looking at the kid. You know, the only thing that takes his eye, and this is why I can't wait to see this fucking movie because this is just in a 2-minute scene that Matt Reeves does this. He is zeroed on the kid. The only thing that takes him out of this moment is hearing something talking about crime, someone missing, and just the way he catches it with his ears, and then he zones in on that conversation like a bat with fucking echolocation, you know? Absolutely love it. Get that MCU comedy out of my Series TC movie. Yeah, that's Taylor. He doesn't want the MCU comedy, eh?
No, not in this. I mean, like you said, this whole tone when he catches that whiff of the cops talking and Gordon talking. I mean, that transition is just great. It's so seamless and smooth how it transitions over. You
don't actually think that cop is MCU comedy, right? You just think, why do you think he stands out for you?
No, he stands out just because the big smile and the way he reacts. Like, it's such a... You know, why would you do that at a funeral? I'm at a funeral, I'm like, hey, Travis! You know, it's like really weird.
You can hit play because I just love, again, that Bruce Wayne just fucking ignores him. Like, he just no-sells it. This is one thing I will bring up. I'll probably get you to pause after in a second. Here's Taylor's boy. There's
yeah, I'm pausing it
there. The finger point. Gordon just looks pissed. I will bring up, now hit play again, and then I'll get you to pause right there. So this is where we've talked about this before for over 2 years, whatever. The way he looks, the way he acts, I will say that I do think a mistake, and I think this is what will happen in the movie. But if they don't go the route of he is learning that, hey, I do on the outside have to appear unlike Bruce Wayne, to me, he has the Keaton thing going on where eventually people would just be like, man, Bruce Wayne's a fucking weird dude. I think he might be Batman. The same way I always thought with Keaton is like people would figure it out. Do you know why? Because this Bruce Wayne's a fucking weirdo. Like, he just like the second Vicky Vale wakes up and the guy's hanging upside down in the middle of the night. It's just like,
you think he's gonna do that in this movie?
Selena wakes up and he's hanging. But like, that's where I hope that people start to catch on, or he worries, because like, this guy is just stoically like creepy, walking around, being like, I know it's a funeral, but that's where I think if they go the whole trilogy and he's just like mopey, like they've compared him to Kurt Cobain as one of the inspirations. If he's like that way the whole trilogy, that for me would be a knock, because I don't need like the flamboyant Bruce Wayne all the time, but I do need him to not seem like he's a fucking, like a serial killer or something like that. I think it's fine for this movie, but what do you think, old Taylor? Do you feel like we're gonna get that? Because that's what we kind of talk about. Well, we've seen no TV spots or trailers of Alfred being like, you have to change, you have to appearances. That hasn't been anything yet, and we haven't seen him be that flamboyant. Just him still very mopey in all these footage so far, which I'm still fine with too.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the Christian Bale version for that very reason. He's very charismatic out, and he goes extremely flamboyant with his money and like landing at the party with a helicopter with a couple chicks that he's got his arms around. Like, I don't need it to be that level, but I do find it humorous. I think you're right. This Bruce Wayne, I mean, he is like suspicious. Like, Gordon's looking at him like, this fucker's got some ghosts in his closet, maybe a couple bats specifically, but I
not
think
skeletons, ghosts specifically. His house is haunted.
He needs to learn to blend in, and maybe like if most of this movie is him trying to come to terms and that realization, like, hey, I need to figure out how to blend in, then that's great. Yeah, will he buy a hotel in this movie? I hope he does.
I'm gonna say no. He might buy a fucking graveyard, but he's not gonna buy a hotel in this movie. Or
a church or an orphanage. Maybe he'll buy an orphanage.
Well, if we look at the rumors, I don't think it went well when his parents had that orphanage. So we'll see what happens there. But hit play, because this is just a fantastic set piece coming up here. So yeah, he's listening in. He's I love just the setting and I love the setting and everything like that. Now, this is awesome. You have that church music. All of a sudden on the outside, you just hear boom, 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 and it's getting closer and closer. And what I love is that they don't cut to the vehicle to show you what's coming. And we even know it's a vehicle coming from the trailers, but it's like a fucking like you don't know what's gonna be coming. Is it Killer Croc? Whatever it is. Like I love this, and it just that shot of fucking Riddler just watching him. Someone pointed out, Derpy, yeah, it feels like a Saw movie, 100%. And this moment, again, the car's coming. What does he do? He just goes right for the kid. Pause right there. And we, again, seen that in the trailers, but seeing the context of it all, it's just, that reminds me of one of my favorite moments in BVS is when, it's a twofer, when the rubble's coming down, everyone's running away, and he's running into it, and then he sees that little girl, and he makes a beeline for that kid to save her.
That was the little girl? I thought it was the boy that he was watching.
No, I'm talking about BVS.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I'm saying like that comparison of like the same thing when they did that. I'm like, oh, that's fucking Batman right there too. Of like I'm sure he knows the other people are safe, but it feels like he doesn't even care. It feels like he knows the car's coming. He just turns and looks right at that kid. He's like, I'm saving that fucking kid. I'm doing whatever I can to save that kid. I don't care about the other people. Is that a bad thing?
None of the other people saved the kid. They all fucking ran for themselves.
100%. And that's where it's just like, again, where it shows Batman. But like that just, that to me is Batman right there. And I love it. I know we'd seen it, but seeing it all together, it's like, man, they're just going to nail it. So you can hit play because this thing, like, that's the start of the kill count, as Bub says.
The Riddler is still, he's just chilling up there on the balcony still.
Oh yeah, he's still just chilling. We're going to talk about him in a second because there's been a new TV spot that's maybe put some question into some of his motives. But again, stuff we've seen in the trailer, this felt exactly like Seven if people have watched it. This felt like when they find whatever the guy tied to bed, I can't remember which scene he is, and they're just like, put your fucking hands up. Like, there's no swearing here. But again, and man, what a terrible funeral, you know? If that's your husband, your son.
Didn't hit the coffin, though. The coffin's still intact.
Yeah, Riddler's that good. But yeah, and we've seen this before where this guy pops out, and it's funny because this was the guy they were looking for. He pops out, he has like the Batman, and Bruce is just staring him down. And the other thing I will mention, because I've been listening to the song so much, it's easily going to be my Wrapped list next year, the Batman theme. But this, if you listen to it, it has a different score going on, just as good. It's so like. I cannot wait to get that whole album so I can stop listening to one song. I keep listening to the song. I listen to it many times every day. But this score, man, like I feel like it's a Golden Geek surefire nominee and maybe winner with Michael Giacchino doing Batman. Like everything I hear is just, man. And this stuff is ramping up, intense. Can't wait to see what happens at the end of the scene because like the scene cuts. We don't know what happens. It's ticking. And like this guy still has like a fucking collar around his neck. Like I don't know what's going to happen. And that's what's great. It was a perfect clip. And yeah, anything else you want to say on that clip? Whoa, Scotty's YouTube. Anything else you want to say on that clip? Because I have a few more Batman related things. But
it was fantastic. It just sets the tone so well. And you're right, 2 minutes out of almost 3 hours. Like, let's go. That just seems fantastic. I love how we're getting, like I mentioned earlier, this challenge towards Batman. And it's his first kind of like realization, like, hey, okay, I have I don't want to label it as like a worthy adversary, but I got a very dangerous and potentially psychotic adversary to deal with here that's challenging me. And that scene, just seeing Gordon in that was awesome. And yeah, just how he's going to deal with it. If I was in that room and this guy comes out of this truck with like a riddle me this trap on his neck, he'd be fucking gone. I'd look at him and be like, sorry, I'm fucking bad at riddles, man. Like you're not going to make it.
Taylor, the worst Batman. He'd take down everybody else but Riddler. Now, I want to ask you, have you seen this clip of the Batman, something going on with Batman's eye? Have you seen this?
Sorry, what was that?
Have you seen this clip going around of something going on with Batman's eye, Bruce Wayne's eye? So no. Can you bring up a TV spot called The Batman? I think it's just called Victory. So there's two things about the spot. One, which I'm very excited about because I know with DCA they complained about a bit and other people where people are like, man, it sucks that in one of those trailers, the Riddler says like, hey, you gotta, whatever, blah, 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 Bruce Wayne. It's like, well, they reveal he knows he's Bruce Wayne right there. Like I said, I always thought that was going to be the case from that very, very first teaser we got. But still, they do that. But then in this new TV spot, they have Jim Gordon and they have these signs where they say Riddler's next target is Bruce Wayne. So I love that before you hit play that. I love that they're in the marketing putting that some doubt of, hey, at first it was like, you can pause it because we gotta go scene by scene. So
I have no idea if it's the right spot, to be honest.
What's the spot called?
It just says TV spot.
Did you type in Batman Victory TV spot? That's why I said Victory. Batman Victory TV spot. So anyways, there's all these things going on, and it's being like, hey, Bruce Wayne is his next target. So that's why when Riddler's saying Wayne or talking about the Waynes and being shady, that's why it could easily just be him going after Bruce Wayne, and that's how Batman gets in the story. So that's why I love that they've not fully shown us like, hey, this is like Riddler for sure knows. So I like that. I'm not sure. Was there any spots called Victory? Did you find it? It should have been like the first.
I did. Fuck this thumbnail. Do you see this fucking like deer in headlights cam?
Yeah,
Fuck.
that's apparently
Batman
from the
just in
TV
the
spots. Yeah, it's very Affleck.
That's
So go to the
that's
Victory
awesome.
one. But yeah, what do you feel
found
about
Trouble and I found Vengeance.
There's no Victory one?
Are you there? You like cut out.
Oh, did I cut out? I said, is there no Victory one?
I don't see Victory. I just see the two. This Vengeance one is 8 days ago and Trouble is 2 days ago.
No, it wouldn't be that one. So I'll just ask you and then I'll try and find you the link. But yeah, what do you feel about now in the marketing and them saying that, Bruce Wayne was Riddler's target? Do you think, like, where are you now on, like, almost just a month later as far as does Riddler know, or is this the marketing having fun? Like, does Riddler not know and they're kind of making it seem like he does? But now we got reverse marketing where it's just like, oh, yeah, just Bruce Wayne's target. Like, what do you think they're doing here? Because I know you love trailers and marketing messing with you. You hate Feige teasing the Hulk and the Hulk doesn't show up. So what do you think of like these spots and previews putting out kind of contradicting messages maybe?
I don't mind contradicting messages. I just don't like when you clearly have a CGI character in the background and totally remove him in the movie, because that's false advertising. That's just being shafted hard. But if you have a play on the story dynamic and the general narrative, I think that's very different. And in this sense, I believe that there's an obsession that the Riddler has with Bruce Wayne, and maybe it's Edward Nygma that has that obsession with Bruce Wayne, and then when you look at this dynamic, it's the Riddler who has this obsession with Batman or something like that. But I think that there's two sides to this coin, and the Riddler's trying, and maybe he believes that Bruce Wayne is Batman, but he wants that confirmation. He wants to know, just so maybe it'd be like him climaxing or something like that, just like when he figures it out. That's how important it is to him, because to him that's probably like the biggest riddle. That's the riddle he wants solved.
Well, and that's the thing where maybe he's after Bruce Wayne and that's how he figures it out. So that's why I just feel like people, and some people aren't going to watch the TV spots, so that's fine. So all they know is that last trailer where it's like, hey, Bruce Wayne. It's like, oh, he knows he's Riddler, or he knows he's Batman. But now all these spots are kind of showing something else. I did send you the spot. SPUB says he thinks the spot was called The Game, but either way, I sent you the spot because that's the one thing they showed in there was, this, Riddler saying his target's Bruce Wayne. That makes sense because all these things he's gone after. This is the one. Oh, look, a nice little skiing ad here. This is the one I sent you, correct?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you when to pause. It's gonna be soon. Get ready.
What the fuck was that? What the
That's
fuck?
a bat.
Holy shit.
My theory is Riddler leaves that at a crime scene for him. Okay, so go back. So my theory is Riddler leaves at a crime scene. So you're gonna have to be close. So yeah, keep going. Yeah. So look at that. Stop right there. So after we'll see this is him putting on some sort of template. Bruce Wayne, and then you can hit play and then pause again when it's on his face. He has some sort of, look at that. He has some sort of computer-like eyepiece that he's putting into his eye socket and showing him a bunch of stuff. This is fucking crazy. I know it's just a little detail, but man, is this cool. Because people already shout out, but it's like, this, you could literally get detective mode from like Arkham Asylum. You could literally, what people, including Clay, if he's listening to this, really want as far as like Batman with white eyes, you could have a moment where for whatever reason that changes to white eyes to like hide his identity, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's so cool. And this for the first time now, I know there might actually be some tech like this in real life, but they've said like, okay, this is a more realistic Batman. And even when you've looked at the movies and footage so far, it feels very gritty and very down to earth, very bare bones. Like look at his car. That doesn't look like some fancy car. It's just like a car modded up.
But what
right?
time period is this again in?
It's modern day, because SPUB's joked about it, but there's one TV spot where the Riddler is live streaming and he's getting a bunch of hearts on it. So he's like on Instagram Live. So it's just like, yeah, Batman sucks is like loving this stream, but it seems like it's in modern day. So to me, like from everything we've seen so far, other than Riddler streaming, it's all been very almost like, okay, it's modern day, but it's almost a callback. It's like it's like Bird's movie where it's like out of time. This though, him having tech like this caught me way off guard. And I'm somebody that's always said we're not going to get too fantastical. I've always said like, Mr. Freeze, I don't see it. I still don't see it. But seeing stuff like this, if this guy literally has like detective mode, whatever he does with this piece of tech, like this is super James Bond techie. And I did not think we were getting this in the movie. I thought, okay, it's very bare bones armor, the gadgets, he's brutal. The car is just a car that's made a little heavy dutier. This is spy shit. And I was like, oh my God. So I like this movie's gonna have so much cool shit. And Matt Reeves is just about to lay a fucking huge W on us all. But what do you take from this, Taylor? That he has some sort of device that he's putting in his eye, that he, you know, stuff like that. Like, what do you take from this?
I mean, it's cool. Like the most we've only seen, at least I've only seen Christian Bale's Batman just drop those white lenses over his eyes when he's using that like sonar in Dark Knight.
Well,
right?
no, you're wrong too. BVS when he has the armored suit, remember? When he fights Superman.
Oh, I guess, but they didn't showcase like what that was really doing for him, though, did they? It was just his eyes were glowing.
The rain.
Whereas
don't want to.
Oh yeah, for to keep the water out of his eyes.
Yeah.
But I love seeing this tech. I want to see like, you know, what did Lucius Fox design this, you know, for? What is the goal here? So,
well, apparently the rumor is there is no Lucius Fox in this one.
Oh, is that it? Oh shit, I love Lucius Fox.
Yeah, maybe he's dead, but this might just be him. And this pulls right from Reeves to say he likes this comic book. Scott Snyder, the director I was talking about, New 52, this is one of the things he has, is like this like lens in his eye that he can do stuff. Whether it's recording, whatever, would you be down for him to have like a detective mode like in the Arkham game where he's changing colors in the room to like see sonar? Like he literally has a black light, but it's in his eye. Like that's
That'd
some
be
cool ass shit. Yeah.
Like I feel like it's not far off to think like he'll just be like a criminal's gonna be freaked out and then he's gonna turn around and Batman with red eyes is gonna charge at him. Just fucking terrify him.
You're right. The red eyes could be very like because especially all the marketing and everything like that. But like again, I don't even know where you were on this, but how do you feel as far as seeing him so far? We've seen very low tech sort of stuff. This is to me, this is like a huge $1 million probably piece of ID.
This is his whole budget invested.
Yeah, that's why his car is like that, because he has this. But do you think that heightens our chances for seeing some more fantastical villains, or do you think that it's just like, okay, they just have this really cool gadget for him in this movie?
When you have the tech like this, I think it opens up a whole door of cool new villains that we could see. So
Clay, clearly, as you just tuned into the stream, you weren't here 10 minutes ago when I said, give him the white eyes. As I've said before, this is the perfect way to do the red and white eyes, wherever you want to be. The same way in Dark Knight, like Taylor's talking about, when he has to save those hostages, and he's looking around and he has except their cell phone eyes. When they come down, perfect. He can kick ass, look cool. He does not need his eyes. But when he's getting it on with, you know, Selena, when he's going to be fucking Matt Riddler, Joker, I want to see past his eyes. I want to see this fucking guy act. So that's why this is the best of both worlds. The white eyes can go on at any moment, battle. If smoke comes up, they go on so he can see that. Perfect. And then when he needs an acne scene, done. Like I've always said, use the Iron Man method. So 100% red eyes, green eyes for GeekVerse. You know, it changes. It's like a mood ring that he has on. Yeah, I'm looking very forward to that. S. Bubs was saying about Riddler, he's simultaneously on YouTube and Instagram. Can barely see the YouTube chat. Man, he should be a podcaster. He should know it's not easy to stream simultaneously to like multiple platforms. We know this. So he might be using StreamYards. He might be using some OBS. Like I just love that Riddler's somewhere just like me. Like I can't like what do I do? Like I can't get like he's like us at a live stream. Like why isn't the webcam working? Like it was just working an hour ago. And you can just close that. There's nothing else in that TV spot really. It was just those two things and the bat for you. But yeah, it's we're getting closer. And look, even that looks like some radarness. So yeah, Taylor's looking through it all. He has to see it for himself.
Just taking a gander.
Oh yeah, no, there's lots of spots going on. There's another one too. I won't say that's really a cool. I'll leave for the movie. But yeah, anything else on the Batman Taylor Field?
I got nothing. Just excitement.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our next ad break, and we'll be right back with some MCU stuff. So stay tuned. And we're back. So who knows how to take this? I don't know. So they put it's weird because obviously movies get delayed, right? And that's what's been happening with Doctor Strange, where we won't say it, but there's been a certain character that was revealed that was maybe a variant that we don't know. Was it a variant or was it a new look? But it was an official Marvel toy. So it's like, okay, whatever that is, that seems to be real. There was a shirt put out, and it was a Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness shirt. And this is where I will say, whether it's spoilers or you want to skip, go ahead. Same thing. This is where I say probably do the cutouts. There's a oh god! For the video audio listeners, Taylor just left the chair as quickly as he could. Just so what? Why did you leave the chair, Taylor?
Almost forgot. Come back? Got to get my Eye of Agamotto.
100%. So. But this goes into rumors because toys aren't always real. I remember when there was a fucking Lego set of BVS, and I'm pretty sure Lex Luthor had like the kryptonite armor suit. We didn't see that at all. So this is just a rumor, but it is official merch where they put out an Avengers logo, but they're ripping off DC. But it was like red, which even then, the Avengers had like a reddish logo in Age of Ultron. But it was some sort of synopsis. And S-Bubs, you might have the official one, so put in there. But it was something like, this like symbolizes the Avengers, but Avengers we may not know from this universe or something like that. Just pretty much saying like, hey, this is the symbol to an Avengers in a different universe. Taylor, and we've done some fun thing where me and Taylor are gonna, it's not a draft, he's gonna pick 6, I'm gonna pick 6 of what we would do a Multiverse Avengers. The only rule was we could only pick 2 of the original characters, so none of the original 6 other than 2. But before we get into like our fun little roster, what do you think about that? Because we've heard so many rumors of Doctor Strange and Multiverse Madness. It's like No Way Home all over again. You know, one is in there, Multiverse breaking stuff, Doctor Strange Supreme right now. How did you feel when you saw, okay, there may be another type of Avengers team from a different multiverse? Did you take this as it'd be one Earth that has, okay, these are the Avengers? Would it be like What If, where we had a what was it, what was the team? What was it called?
Revengers?
Oh, no, it's Guardians of the Multiverse, right? Remember, like, it's like that, where it's multiple people together. What did you take from this potential Multiverse Avengers?
I think you're dealing with certain multiverses that don't have Avengers. And I say that, Exhibit A, No Way Home. Then we
know too. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you have other multiverses with, again, specific copycats, or excuse me, not copycats, but
variants.
Same characters, variants. Yeah, like, as we've seen in Loki. So when it comes to this, I think absolutely there is another Avengers out there, because when you look at even Doctor Strange kind of going through the different timelines, like he's looking at his own, but there's so many of those own like timelines that there are other Avengers teams that failed against Thanos and all this kind of stuff. So I think that it's plausible, it's doable, and let's get into it. I want to see an alternative Avengers team. I think that's such a cool thing to behold, and it would just be interesting to see them with maybe compromised attributes, different characteristics, and like some of them, maybe they are heroes, maybe they're good, but maybe they are just like very sloppy, maybe they're jerks, or maybe there's some drawback. And I feel like that's the case. When we get them, you're going to distinctively know that, okay, they're not the Avengers, because A, they're different cast members, and then B, when you may think they're going to be good, they're going to pull a John Walker on you, where they're going to be doing something very shady that's not going to jive well. But I think that's my prediction, at least.
And S-Bub says it was something along the lines of Earth's mightiest heroes who might just be from a whole new multiverse. Because also what I might think too is the funnest thing, I think, well, not the funnest thing, but one of the funnest things about What If is you get to see different characters interact that we didn't get to before because timelines didn't match up, right? Like Killmonger and Iron Man, where it's like there's a very finite time in the MCU sacred timeline where it could happen, and it never happens. But in this, okay, Killmonger saves him, they have a friendship. It goes wrong for Tony, as it does in every episode of What If. But that's where I think like you could even have an Avengers team that is literally all the MCU cast that we have already, but it's, hey, it went this way. And this is some people that aren't on my roster, but you could literally have a team where it's like, oh, it is Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and it is Don Cheadle's War Machine, stuff like that, where it is just characters we know, but hey, in this universe, things went different. And it might not be like a Tom Cruise's Iron Man being in the, like, that would be fun. I would love it if they did the original 6, kind of like they did in Thor Ragnarok, where it was Matt Damon playing Loki and Thor's brother. Like, if they had a team where it was just like the original 6 and all different actors. Maybe they are a little more goofy, whatever it may be. Maybe they're serious, but all different actors, just one scene. I think that would be really fun. I don't know what route they're going to go, because that's the thing. with that statement, it could go anywhere. It could be a joke. It could be serious. It could be villainous, like you said. And that's the fun thing in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness so far, is like just the speculation. And Maddie has a question too about speculation, which I'm excited to get to, because I think there's something where people do have to temper some expectations. But either way, Taylor Field, I asked you, I said, okay, put together a list of 6 Avengers of a multiverse, but you can only pick 2 of the original members. Now, I will say, did you pick 2 original members?
Yes.
Would they be played by the same MCU versions?
No.
Okay, so that's where I want to start with them. So who's your first original member?
First original one, we discussed this earlier, Iron Man.
Mm-hmm. And who's he played by?
I think he would be... That's the thing, I don't really know. I mean, I'd probably go with like Tom Cruise just for the hell of it. I mean,
just because the rumors?
Why not just go with... Just because the rumors, yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you have those rumors, but now there's been other people being like, yeah, like those are just crazy rumors. Like this, there's no truth to that at all. And I am leaning more that way because enough people have said it, but I also just feel I always thought it would be fun, but I never saw Tom Cruise doing it. But I'll wait to save that for Maddie's question. Okay, so then who's your second original member?
I just want to answer, I suppose, question here real quick. I suppose my dream universe, the universe where everyone has their comic accurate costumes, doesn't matter how cheesy they are. I suppose that universe does exist, and I will default to exhibit Loki, and I'm sure there's WandaVision and all that stuff too out there. But Loki's a prime example. His universe, he was rocking the classic costumes accurate to the comics. So
I would be so down for that. Like, even if it wasn't the original actors, everybody. You get the Hawkeye with the wings on the head. You get Captain America with his little wings. You get Hulk with the really purple shorts. Yeah, 100%. I think that would be great. Same thing, even if it's a joke, whatever it may be. So, who was your second original member?
My second was Thor. I feel like this would be a great time to sneak him in there, specifically because we got like... what was it, like Frog Thor? Is that what
I was gonna say? Do you go with Throg?
Throg. I would love that. I really, really would. But just it doesn't have to necessarily be Throg. But give me a different variant of Thor. I just feel like it's so easy to just shove it in there. It would fit so well. I could see it happening, especially just after the whole Loki thing.
100%. So who are your other members you picked?
Third pick was Wasp. I feel like we could get a different variant of Wasp. I think that ties in with like Quantumania and everything like that. Just kind of getting a little bit janky out there in the multiverse. My fourth pick is, and this is mostly insinuated because of all the different rumors, but a Doctor Strange variant. Just one of the many that we're probably going to see in this movie.
One that's not magic.
Well, yeah.
He's just the team doctor. Surgeon. Yeah, he's just like, oh, he helps us. Like that would be great. Like he's the doctor dodgeball, you know.
Wolverine is another one that I felt like it would be a nice way to sneak him in there. And then Deadpool.
Ooh, I didn't even think about Deadpool. That'd be a good one. Yeah, that would be lots of fun because you don't think he'll ever join the Avengers, but this would be his moment. You know, he could be like, is he still a shithead or is he like really proper and everything like that? Like, I feel like he's supposed to be a shithead, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, he's a shit in all these multiverses. But
yeah.
Okay, so you and I are pretty similar on our list, to be honest. But yeah, so I went with the original actors playing the 2 originals. I went with Cap and I went with Black Widow. The reason is because those are 2 people that are out of the Avengers. Now, I did not pick this list thinking of what could realistically happen because I don't think ScarJo came back and filmed anything in the time that they were having their issues. But I just think, like, thematically, like, Thor's still alive in the MCU, so we're seeing lots of him. Like, Hulk is still alive. God, Renner just got a whole show, so I wouldn't need one of them on the team. I know there's Iron Man, but I think I've got enough Iron Man. If it was Cap, because I always like Cap just being like the poster boy of the Avengers, and then Nat, who was like sacrificed herself. I don't know. There's something about that combo plus they were friendly that I would like it. Of like, okay, there is a version of this team where they survived or stayed. Same as you, I had Wolverine with Hugh Jackman because I feel like I know there's one of those rumors. We don't know if they're ever true or not. Of like the pitch was okay, Wolverine was going to be in this movie and Wanda was just going to fuck him up. I would like to think, in my opinion, that after No Way Home, I don't believe those rumors because I think after seeing what they did with the villains, Toby and Andrew, I think Feige and all them would have known like, oh yeah, we're gonna have like him just come in and just get destroyed. No, that wouldn't seem right. Like I'm not even saying that was discussed. Like to me, those rumors just felt like maybe something was put out there, but I just don't think it was Wanda destroying Wolverine. I really don't. After No Way Home, I think they took good care of legacy characters. So the other ones I had, and that's where again similar. Oh, but like I was saying, Wolverine, if he's in the movie, that'd be a perfect spot for Hugh Jackman to cameo. Maybe if I we're just like, oh yeah, he eventually joined the Avengers. I'd love to see him and Cat have some barbs, like anything like that. Him interact with some original MCU people. That'd be fun. If I don't get it, that's fine. I did have Wasp, but I had Wasp and Ant-Man. I had Janet Van Dyne and Hank Pym though.
So originally I had Ant-Man, but I thought no, it'd probably just be Janet actually as Wasp on her own.
See, so what I would do is I'd get Michael Douglas and get Michelle Pfeiffer and de-age them and then put them back on the team because that'd be a fun callback to like they were some of the original members of the Avengers in the comic books. So that's what I would like to do. 100% as Bubs. A universe where Cavill and Widow got married like a next Avengers animated movie. Those are some wild ones. But you know, they're actually decent. So let's see. I think that's everybody. And then, you know, S-Bubs kind of said something similar, but I wouldn't go that far. He said Tom Hiddleston, Thor with blonde wig because Tom Hiddleston audition for Thor. I was just going Loki. I would love it if there's a multiverse where Loki was the good one and Thor was the bad one, and that's the switch. I think Loki on the Avengers could be tons of fun. I'd love to see like what his hero Avengers costume could be. Hiddleston would just eat that up. So that was my roster of Cap and Black Widow, the originals, Hank Pym and Janet for, you know, kind of represent some old originals, and then Wolverine and Loki as some wild cards. So I want to bring up Maddie Seg's question, and if you guys, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, let us know your six. I think that's a very fun thing of like, if this is true, can't wait to see it. Maddie Seg said, with all the rumors going around with Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness who could appear and stuff like that, is there anyone in this movie, if they don't appear, would you be disappointed? Now, Taylor, I think I know there's an obvious one, so I'll ask you for two, because obviously, what is your first one?
Ghost Rider, for sure. I mean, I'd be crushed if he didn't appear, but I have been calling it since, like, the dawn of time at this point that he's in this movie. It's my longest prediction at this point, so...
And I think you're right. I think it's gonna happen, whether it's Nick Cage or not, who knows? But I think it's gonna happen. But who would be your second one? Because I feel like we all know. Okay, clearly Ghost Rider. If he's not in this, because Taylor's been saying that for a while, you'd be disappointed. If I says they come to you and say, okay, Ghost Rider's for sure in this movie, you'd be like a pig in shit. You'd be happy. But who would be your second draft pick? Who's your next one? Like, oh, I'm really hoping this cameo happens. Whether it's a new character, whether it's an old legacy casting like Toby and Andrew, who would be your most disappointing?
Oh, it's tough. Oh man. Like, it's tough because I wouldn't know who else to really anticipate in something like this. When we look at all the different, like, I just want the one down to its core. I just want the one Ghost Rider. But like, all the other characters we've seen are pleasant surprises. Like, Doctor Strange is a magnificent surprise that I'm super stoked on. But if there was someone else that I would think that could be in this, that... I mean, if we somehow were to get Blade to appear in here, which I'd feel like it's probably at the bottom of the barrel on that.
The classic or new one?
The new one. I don't think Wesley Snipes is making it in... as a legacy character.
I'm fine with that. Yeah. I'm more anticipated of Mahershala than seeing Wesley again.
Yeah, I think in the hierarchy of legacy characters, it'd be like Ben Affleck, and then oh gosh, why am I forgetting her name? Elektra.
Jennifer Garner is ex-wife.
Yeah, I feel like you could even see Jennifer Garner like reprise in there as Elektra before. Well, maybe that's me being a little bit too. No,
I don't think they're going to appear together. I don't think they're going to appear together in that one. No. So for me, I kind of have three. I will say this though, that as much as I want to see all these people, at the end of the day, and this still was the same case with Spider-Man, but at the end of the day, what I care more about this movie is the story and if it's good. And I really care what they do with Wanda, because Wanda is becoming one of my... I always like Wanda. I'm an X-Men guy. You know, I love Magneto and the dynamic with his kids. So it has always been a part of my life. But now with what the MCU did with her, because before I was like, okay, she's always going to be like a side player. That's fine. I wish it was better. But they've brought her to a different stage. To me, all that matters is what they do with Steven and Wanda and their stories. The rest is all, like I've said before, just a cherry on top. I really don't care, and I don't think there's any cameos that like I'm not like Taylor where I don't. There's nothing I need. Like Taylor needs Ghost Rider. I don't need that. The ones I needed, I got. I needed Toby and Andrew. That was like, and I'd say Dafoe too, because even I remember when there were rumored villains going around, and Dafoe wasn't in the first list, so I was like, man, this fucking sucks. Like, you need Dafoe, and look, he ended up being the main villain of the movie. So those three are the ones I needed, and I got them. Everyone would probably look at me knowing this podcast and say, oh, well, what about Hugh Jackman's Wolverine? I don't need it. I think that would be fun, but I don't like I said before, Logan was such a great ending. At one point in my life I wanted more, but I'm fine if he does more, but I'm also fine if he's like, I'm done, I'm in a good place. So the three that I have, I'd say the number one for me, because I just want confirmation he is around, you mentioned him in your roster, for me is Deadpool. I think Deadpool is a layup. I think Deadpool's super easy. He doesn't even have to like drop in our universe and like, oh, that's how Deadpool got here. Just them visiting him or him having a cameo. I want Deadpool in the MCU officially so I can believe, okay, this movie is coming. Because I still think it's happening. They're new writers, but I still want a date. I want them to go in production. I really want this to get going because I always worry that one day they're just like, let's not do it, So that to me is the most disappointing one. If Deadpool's not in this, because I think it's a layup. It's very easy. He can make lots of jokes about the multiverse. The second one is, we were talking about him before, but is Tom Cruise Iron Man? I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's too good to be true. But I just think that's so fun, especially if there's these rumors like Iron Man may be a bit more villainous. If Tom Cruise was playing a villainous Iron Man, that sounds like a fucking just cakewalk. That sounds so good. And the other one, I am with people that I don't need him to have a big role, but I think it would be tons of fun is you have Chris Evans back as Johnny Storm. Because I think talking about Deadpool, whether it's Deadpool or whatnot, the amount of jokes you can do with you look like Cap and all these things, I think that's tons of fun. I think that works out. And again, none of these I'm really disappointed other than Deadpool. And even then, I'm not like really disappointed. I just like, damn, really easy chance to lay up. If we didn't get Toby or Andrew in No Way Home, I would be like, oh, these are the ones I want. But, and even then, like people saying like, okay, there's rumors like Michael Fassbender might be in the movie, right? And that would definitely be maybe next to Deadpool, the same level disappointing because I'm such a Fassbender fan. But again, it's just going to be maybe a cameo, right? It's not Fassbender confirmed to be Magneto in the MCU. And that's where it's for me, it's like it'll be fun to see him. But that's where all these, to me, the No Way Home cameos or like whatever stories, they had stakes because like look at what they did for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. They closed that story up. It felt like a moment. Lots of these appearances just sound like it's gonna be fun and like wave. I don't think Michael Fassbender's Bang Deal is going to pop in for 5 minutes and it's going to close his arc. I really don't. I think it's going to be like a bunch of boss levels. So that's where, to me, I'm not as excited for those because I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to love it and cheer and be like, man, can you see that? And we talk about the review. It's going to be fun. But to me, the Toby, Andrew, and Tom of all had much more heart and like a closing the story. Even Toby's story, like you've said before, seeing him as this wise Spider-Man, he's upgraded. It's like, man, things worked out for him. We don't know what the fuck's going on with him and MJ still, but he still said, hey, it's working out. So, yeah. Anything else on Doctor Strange, Taylor Field?
No, I got nothing.
Taylor Field's got nothing. So we're going to take another ad break, and then we're going to talk about a little more MCU, and we'll be right back. And we're back. So speaking of the MCU and speaking of cameos, Taylor mentioned him earlier was Ben Affleck. And that's one where, honestly, I would be disappointed in that as well. Not a big time, but I really loved Ben Affleck as Daredevil in a very cheeky, guilty pleasure sort of way. But here's the thing. So we've shared her scoops a couple times. We've talked about them. And I always like talking about them because at the end of the day, they're rumors. They'd be the same if me and Taylor were just spitballing and shooting shit out there and having some fun. So there's a scooper. Her name is My Time to Shine. She had gotten some things right about No Way Home, but ever since then, people are like, well, what has she got right? Because she's put out so much stuff where it just seems like, I don't know. And this is where it'll be interesting to talk about Taylor. Where she's not got under fire, but some people have called bullshit on her, is she likes to share a lot of scoops, but then what she also likes to share is a lot of NFT stuff and about buying NFT stuff and stuff like that. And people have thought, is she just using these scoops to like potentially sell stuff? It could be the reverse, that she's gotten these scoops and they're legit, but she's like, I can make some money. But people have called this into question that she's putting out a lot and may not or may not be true. But someone had tweeted out, hey, don't be surprised if Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill end up in the MCU. They said as just like an opinion. They are not a scooper. She took it up and said, like, save this tweet. I've heard similar. Like, I'm hearing this is not like as unlikely as you think. Now, here's the thing. With the whole NFTs and stuff like that, we've talked about this, I think, on a cast. I think majority of that is all dumb. I get to his proportion or pitches, but majority of the stuff is being abused, and it's just making rich people richer, and there's just fools falling for it, in my opinion. Don't buy NFTs. Don't make your profile picture NFT. All that sort of stuff. So I don't know about that. With her, it's tough because she's a newer scooper. You have, like, the newer scoopers, you never know. Do you have a new diamond in a rough that's going to be a C plus B, or do you just have someone put out a bunch of shit? Because what happens after a year, people go, we got this covered. You got nothing. So we'll see in a little bit of time, because she put out some specific plot details about She-Hulk and other stuff. So it's like, in a year's time, if we look back and go, she got this right, then we have someone for sure. It might not be. I hope she's right, because she's one of those big proponents of saying that they're trying to get Spider-Gwen and the whole, Spider-Verse going live action. So I'm like, please, I'm begging. But Taylor, what do you think the chances are of Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill coming to the MCU? Obviously, Ben Affleck, he is, he's about to, seems like, finish up his Batman run. You have Henry Cavill, who's apparently Warner Brothers has no desire for him to ever play Superman again. He's doing Witcher, he's doing all these movies, but he seems like superhero-wise he might be free. Do you think this is going to actually happen, or do you think this is like a rumor you maybe lean towards? Like, I don't really see it happening.
Well, with Ben Affleck, wasn't it, it was just kind of they wanted to get him back in there?
So here's the other thing. The scooper had put out that he had set, so a few scoopers put out that Ben Affleck was offered a role in Multiverse of Madness, and they didn't know if he said no. Most people said it's likely he said no, but they didn't know for sure. She came out and said that he did say no, but he said the door is open for something called Secret Wars. We've talked about this before, where it's like a multiverse war where they like heroes fight and stuff. So it was kind of like a maybe or in the future sort of deal. So I really think if Ben Affleck came back, it would just be for one little thing as Daredevil. I don't think it would be like, hey, he's a new character. So, and then with Cavill, that's a different situation, because obviously he'd have to be a new character, right?
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I mean, I would love the little flashback, not flashback, but little cameo of having Ben Affleck back as Daredevil in some component. I think that would be actually really, really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how small it is. But to have Henry Cavill pop in, I think that's a great idea. I feel like there's a plethora of superheroes and villains they could cast as him. Like, give him the Doctor Doom role. That'd be super cool to see Henry Cavill as a Dr. Victor Von Doom.
That's what Clay wants, and I'm definitely down for that. I'd be down. I'm still on the Wolverine bandwagon. That's still where I want to go. I still think he'd be a great James Howlett, but
gotta get the Daniel Radcliffe in there.
Don't even see that.
Perfect.
Don't
Wolverine.
do that. Let's see. Fanboy Clay busting in our chat as always says, I really doubt Ben Affleck in a reoccurring role. Henley, I would see wanting to do at least want to talk about a permanent role. Yeah, I agree. And I know people were all over the Scooper, which I get it. That's what Scoopers do. But just like, look how busy he is, blah, blah, blah. Look at all his movies he has. Look how Marvel plans ahead. Now, not every single thing's planned, but they plan like 5 to 10 years ahead. You don't think they would, like, if they want Henry Cavill to work something out, they could make it work? They'd find a way. So I don't buy the whole, oh, he's busy. Yeah, he might be busy right now, but they'll be like, hey, in 2025, you're going to come over here, I'm mixed because, like I said, if Ben Affleck comes, it's just a cameo. I do, unfortunately, have to agree with Fanboy Clay that I think it's something fun. I don't think he's in the place, though. I don't know. He's said before that he respects the hell out of Feige and thinks he's one of the greatest producers and all this stuff. He says, like, oh, fantastic job. But then just a few weeks ago, he did an interview where he's like, he's just done with IP movies. He wants to do smaller movies. He's feeling more creative that way. Again, I think like the Marvel Daredevil thing would be fun because it's a closing of loop kind of him. Like he met his ex-wife on that, but still it's the mother of his children. I think that would be fun. Especially he just did this. There's an interview that came out where he was talking about his kids watching movies and they watched Daredevil and they're just like, did you think this was a good movie while you were making it? Like, aren't you supposed to have red hair? Like, they're like, why didn't you do a good job like pretending you were blind and stuff? So I think it would be kind of fun if his kids are getting him shit and he gets to come back and redoes it. But I think it's something they maybe talked about and went, let's not do it. So Ben, I don't really have a high percentage there. Would love to see it. Henry, I've always said this should happen. I agree with people that like he does come with some baggage, but at the end of the day, that baggage is very small. It's on the internet, and as always, Twitter's not real life. There's many people that don't know fucking a clue about like Henry Cavill and the Snyder Cut. Like they know about the Snyder Cut now, but it's just like they don't know the drama exactly behind it. They're starting to learn more and more as the years go on, but they don't even know now. Like there's fan base that's fight. They just like, oh, I guess that guy put out like a director's cut, cool, and they watch like, oh yeah, this is better than the original. Like there's so many people that have no fucking clue about any of this stuff with Cavill. Cavill's a big star. He's growing. I want him to be in the MCU. I've always said he would be a team player, and I think it would just be the biggest fucking FU to DC of just like, you didn't use this hot star who just everyone really enjoys as Superman or just enjoys Henry Cavill. They put him in a Marvel project, go make $1 billion. Yeah, so like, and with the Scooper, only time will tell. So we'll see. If Love and Thunder is bringing other pantheons, I would like to see him as Hercules. You're not wrong. I just don't like. I don't know. There's some. I just don't want Hercules because I guess it's the whole Disney thing. I don't want a Hercules in the MCU. I know there's a Marvel character named Hercules, but I'm sure it will happen. Is that anything that bothers you, or you're fine with all that stuff if it's in the like mythology?
I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean, yeah. I at this point with how they've kind of been diving into everything, like look at like Eternals. Again, we're diving into that whole mythological kind of area where
I don't want to look at Eternals.
Sprite's the one who's kind of created the whole narrative for humanity and religion and all that kind of stuff. So they can get whatever they want into it. I'm just gonna accept it for what it is.
Yeah. Let's see. Next, so we got some interesting Star Wars news. So we have two pieces of information, Taylor. Do you want to start with the casting, or do you want to start with Lucasfilm?
Let's do. Let's do the casting. I feel like that'll be a quicker one. I think the Lucasfilm ones will be a longer, more prominent discussion.
So Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Mrs. McGregor, is going to be in Ahsoka. Very interesting casting. Was not expecting this. I kind of thought that most of the casting was done for Ahsoka, but the rumor was January they're going to start filming, so this would make sense. I think it's now more like February-ish, but seems like it's going to be happening. She's a great actress. She's somebody. Now, I know Clay, he threw a barb on the chats here, and I talk about this with Danny Trejo of like, hey, there's certain actors that are too big for stars. To me, Mary Elizabeth Winstead's not one of those actresses. She, like, I know that sounds maybe bad, but it's almost the same thing as Rosario Dawson to me, where it's like she's not a big enough star on the outside where I just see her as one role. I don't see Machete. I don't see, Tyler Durden from Fight Club. I don't see, Arnold from Terminator. Like, there's specific actors or actresses when they're in a role, I just see them as that. She's not that for me. I think she maybe just hasn't had the biggest role where that's the case yet, but I think she's still just kind of under the radar. Very great actress. Have liked her in a lot of things, so I think she's a great addition. Who she's playing, who knows? Because the internet's been good with a lot of suggestions between like Hera, I know some people are joking about Mara Jade. I just really don't think it would be Mara Jade. And at the end of the day, it could be a fucking made-up character, right? It could be a completely original character we've never met. So at the end of the day, all it matters is you add more talent to a show, it gets better. Winstead has tons of talent. Like anything I've seen her in, I don't think I've ever seen her be bad. There's like varying degrees of good to great, but I've always enjoyed her. So yeah, I think this is like a win for the show. Like it's just another great actress on the roster.
Yeah. This caught me off guard when S-Bubs dropped the link in there, like Royal Pain and everything. I was like, Royal Pain's and Ahsoka? Let's go. This is going to be amazing. So I'm ecstatic. I don't know what to anticipate, but it makes sense. She got her golden ticket in there through Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is fantastic. The character, not the show. And I think that I'm not going to dwell on like who she could be playing. I think playing Hera is actually really very much so up her alley. That'd be super cool to see, but I'm not going to put all my chips in that basket. I'm not going to just dive and hold on to the rope of what her character could be, this or that. And if I had to give an honest answer, I would probably say I'm inclined to suspect she is playing a new character. I think that Star Wars and Lucasfilms just kind of has that go ahead of you know, unlike the sequel trilogy in this sense, when they introduce like, oh, this celebrity is starring in this project or whatever, people just automatically go to thinking like, oh, they're gonna be playing this or that. But in reality, it's like, no, they're just playing just this basic character. It's not anything granular, and it doesn't have to be. At the end of the day, it just needs to fit into the story. And that's
remember
all
when
that matters.
Sasha Banks was playing Sabine? Remember that was the whole thing because she has colored hair. She has colored hair, and that's oh, she must be doing that and everything. And I was on board with that. That would have been great. But then it was just Costco Reeves, someone new. So
Could you see? Could you see that actually with Elizabeth Winstead, her playing Sabine?
no, because I think everyone said Sabine has Asian descent, right? So that's why you wouldn't have Mary Elizabeth Winstead play her.
Is that what they say? She's got Asian descent?
I thought so because I thought that was the main thing. What someone brought up with when the rumor was Sasha Banks, be like, well, no, that wouldn't fit because Sabine's like an Asian character or has Asian heritage or something like that. But again, she wasn't Sabine, so it didn't matter. But people are like, but Dave should know better. He created the character. Why would he do that? Blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, as Bob says, Sabine is cast right. No, I know that, but I mean that we were talking about Mando season 2 when Sasha got casted. I guess you're saying to Taylor. Yeah, that is the rumor that she's casted. I think there's some actress.
Oh, right. It's never also been explicitly mentioned that she is Asian. It's just a general fan consensus, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, there's a animated show called Batman Beyond, and it's a sequel to the Batman animated series that we will retrospective one year. But there's a main character named Terry McGinnis, and I learned that so many people thought he was Asian. I was like, oh, I didn't take that at all from this. Like, I didn't see that at all, but it was just the way he was drawn that people took as that way. And if that's the case, sure, nothing really matters that he's Asian in the story. He's just like a kid trying to be Batman. But I was like, oh man, I live in this whole other universe where Terry McGinnis has been white my whole life, and other people have been in that universe. So then there was a report that came out that it said that Lucasfilm is focusing less on new IP and they're focusing more on a established IP, such as a Star Wars, such as a Willow, such as a Indiana Jones. Those are just ones they listed. I don't know how much more you can get out of those other two franchises, but here's the thing. Now, this is where I'll say that maybe I'm uneducated. I should have looked before. Maybe I'll look while Taylor's talking, but it's like, okay, Lucasfilm wants to do less, original IP and focus more on the big stuff, which to me, that's going to be every studio. Lucasfilm is going back to formula, as Bob says. To me, every studio after the pandemic has to go, they have to lean on what works for them, what works IP, established stuff. Spider-Man, look at all these films that like have a tough time in COVID, trying to get past like a new world, right? Spider-Man is about to be the 5th biggest film and 6th biggest film of all time. It's performing like it's not even in the pandemic. And imagine if it was not in the pandemic. It could be even like the numbers would be even higher, right? So I understand studios right now in kind of a free fall mode of like, we just got to make money because we've lost money and stuff like that. I understand that. But I also just got to look and see, and maybe you'll know Taylor better than me. Maybe Espos will know. What original stuff was Lucasfilm like really working on that was that big? Because if they're doing a shit job from promoting it. And I'll go look, but I feel like it has just been the IP stuff since. So
original stuff, I like that they've already been pumping out
since the Disney purchase.
I took this in the context of original stuff that they're going to be going into wasn't stuff that they are like shelving or putting out right now, but like original stuff is like they're sticking to what works for them in the time periods that work for them, like the Bad Batch season 2, Book of Boba Fett, like with these characters that are familiar in these already established universe. So they are prioritizing Star Wars and their existing IPs over original work. So it's pretty much just like existing IPs.
Yeah, here we go. So let's see. This was thanks to Hollywood Reporter. We know now, while Lucasfilm saved the project from development held by 20th Century Studios, the author of the book series wanted to contribute to the book series, wanted to be able to contribute to the screenplay and regain a degree of creative control. What was this book for? Okay, so this was Lucasfilm let their option on their adaptation of Children of the Blood and Bone expire as the film was picked up by Paramount Rights. So that's what started as, at first it was a bidding war. They had got this book, which again, it's original IP, but it's still based on a book. So I guess what happens is they got the rights to this book, gonna make a film. They didn't do that. When people dug in deeper, they found out that, hey, they're just saying we don't want to do anything new. We just want to focus on the other ones. Or like the stuff we have.
Mm-hmm. And I guess that makes sense because like the High Republic, a lot of that is all original work, and we're probably not going to see a movie or anything like based on that, which makes me think Star Wars Acolyte is going to be even more so focused on like your Palpatine stuff that's already established IPs that are in the universe. So I feel like it's going to be focusing on that. Again, Bad Batch Season 2, that's another prime example. A bunch of other content as well. I think it's going to be just heavily reflecting on already established characters in the universe. So more of the dark times. I would dare say the sequel trilogy is now established. So when they say original content, like they don't have to, they're not going to be creating like new things kind of around that time. Well, how do I explain this? They're not going to be creating new things like in a sense of like a new trilogy after that or like a new prequel trilogy, but they're going to be dabbling with everything established within the realm of these 9 movies. And I think that's where you get maybe a show that takes place around the sequel trilogy time. It's hard to put it into words necessarily, but I just think they've created the whole storyline now bridged between 9 films. That is the sandbox they're going to be working within, and whatever we get out of that, I don't know. It could be, that Kira show, could be a whole bunch of other things, but like again, the Ahsoka show taking place obviously after episode 6 is another good example of them working in the sandbox of the IPs that they have created this time that are familiar and a little bit new, but not working on original content. Like, hey, we're jumping back 300 years to when we got Buryaga and Bell.
Oh no, I don't
that stuff. So
I don't. I think you're taking it too literal. I think they'll just do anything Star Wars. I think what that means is in the future, when you're thinking of films, think of Star Wars. Don't think of other books. Don't think of, hey, I got this great idea about a kid who can make a toy and his toy's best friend. No, don't shelf that. That's not what we're here for. It's like the people at Activision when they make Crash Bandicoot or Spyro and they're like, hey, you know what you're going to do? You're going to go make Call of Duty. I think that's what this means.
But I think it's just being more broad in the sense like, hey, like with Star Wars, we're going to just be doing what we know works. And that's sticking to what people are used to at this time, which is like prequel, original, sequel trilogy characters and just those storylines, those eras, and not branching further out and creating new original storylines that are past that.
All it takes in Knights of the Republic is you add Yoda in there. That's oh look, it's tied to the prequels. You have a character that like that's all it takes. Like that's what High Republic kind of did a little bit. I think it was trickery because Yoda's not really in them, but heavily in the marketing. Like he's in this era. Look out for him. And it's like in the books what he said, like 2 lines so far. So I think they'd find something to be like, or they'd call like Knights of the Republic, like you want to see the origins of the Sith, and they'd like lean heavily on Sith marketing and stuff like that.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it by all means. Let's do it. Like I love all Star Wars, everything Star Wars. I really, really do. And if we get more dark times, so be it. I'm going to be there every step of the way. Because for me, Bad Batch dove into a storyline I didn't think I needed, but I got it, and it just blew it out of the water for me. So I would love to get something different, but I'm okay with what we get now because it's familiar. It works. That's how I feel with Boba Fett. So,
we'll see. Hopefully, Acolyte's a little bit different, and we'll see what Obi-Wan is. Terrible. Have you heard these rumors that Obi-Wan's getting delayed?
Okay, fuck off. Who's saying these rumors? Your fucking lady that's like saying
Henry
Cavill?
I don't know how good they are. Katie shared in the GOA chat, like someone in the know, and he just tweeted out like, oh, June's not a bad month, eh? So he's like being really cryptic about it, but he I guess his reasoning. Are you going into the GOA chat right now to find it?
No, I'm just looking at Google.
It's just little rumblings right now, so you won't find it. These are like the insider scoopers. But I guess like what his reasoning is the tip-off was he's seeing like a lot of merchandise and stuff like that being set for a time that would be June, not May. So some people have theorized that...
Okay, I just to counter that, I think that is so unjustified because look at Baby Yoda. Like that merchandise came out like 2 fucking years after season 1.
No, I think he means like promotion, TV spots, etc. Like everything. Like it's if you work at Disney and you'd look at if it's called May, you'd be like April. You'd be like, oh, why wouldn't we pay for any advertising in April for Obi-Wan? They'd be like, I imagine what maybe happened was, well, because there is no Obi-Wan. Like, oh, well, shit.
That's bullshit. No, the show should have been done right when they bought LucasArts, Lucasfilms. They should have started the Obi-Wan show. They should have
kicked that Blood and Bone book to the curb and everything like that. Like, I get it, but like the good thing is, I'm not worried because we know it's filmed. We know Gregor was on set, so we'll get it at some point. But yeah, hey, I want it as soon as possible too. But and the other piece, someone was saying like, oh, you need Celebration to promote it. I have no fucking clue in Star Wars Celebration is, by the way. Someone in the chat can look that up. Maybe Ted's gonna look up. But No idea. So I'm guessing it is before June, so they could.
It starts on May 26th and ends on May 29th.
Yeah, so
So
that's
I mean, what, 1 month?
Yeah, but some people are saying like, oh, that's where they do a really big push for Obi-Wan, like some stuff, maybe a final trailer, some. So yeah, like I guess I could see it.
A final trailer, even then, that's bold. Like as long as it's not like, hey, we have the Obi-Wan. Like everyone's waiting for Obi-Wan. We want it so bad, and then they're like, oh, okay, we're dropping it on May 26th. It comes out next month. It'd be like, well, you waited this long. Like now I gotta wait another month. Are you kidding me? Just rip the Band-Aid off. Give us a trailer now. So.
No, they could easily give you one little like teaser and then a full trailer because you'd still just be as hyped. You say 1 month, 1 month till Obi-Wan. So we'll see. I really don't understand why they don't do a Star Wars Celebration May the 4th week or weekend. I really don't, because there's these rumors right now. I'm not sure if you've heard that Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2 is going to be revealed on May 4th. That's like a rumor going around. But
fucking rumors, all rumors today.
That's what our podcast is, But like, if that's the case, and then you have like in 2 weeks after, it's like Star Celebration. Why not just put it that week and just do it then, But hey, Lucasfilm, they always know.
Well, maybe they're afraid. They're afraid of Fallen Order taking the spotlight from the Obi-Wan trailer, I guess.
Like that's it. Yeah, Cal Kestis is much bigger than Obi-Wan, so. Let's take our final ad break, and then I think we're going to be talking about some Godzilla, so we'll be right back. And we're back. So we're talking about some Godzilla. So this came out last week. Now, today you will have to fill me in because I'm not sure the press release if it gave some plot points or whatnot, but it said that Godzilla has Warner Brothers sold a Godzilla show to Apple Plus. Now, all I will say is Hello, Ryan Peterson. I'm very surprised that it's not on HBO Max because we had heard that before. And I don't know if that is just Apple TV paying a lot of money for it or if that is Warner Brothers not feeling confident in it. I don't know why they wouldn't feel confident in it because Godzilla vs. Kong was kind of like a surprise hit after the last few were kind of disappointments. So I'm very surprised by this move that it went, what was going to happen? What's your opinions on the Northman? Well, Ryan Peterson, we're all excited about what you should do is you should go check out the 2022 movie preview, and we do a bunch of segments. We talk about every movie coming out that's big next year. That's where we do a big deep dive on that one. So it is looking great. But I was caught off guard, but it wasn't too much because I remember after the movie came out and had that success, I feel like on the show we talked about that there was rumors of a show or something like that. So the show being confirmed, that's great. I'm happy for you. And I like that didn't surprise me because we had heard that before. Apple TV Plus very much like surprised me, but now I went, okay, well, I guess Taylor's finally gonna throw down the money and get some Apple Plus in the near future.
I've had one I had one this whole past year. I had Apple Plus
for free.
Yep.
Yeah, you waited the wrong moment. Should have waited a little longer, I guess, and then boom,
I should have. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this?
As much as I would love another movie, I mean, there are still the rumblings of like Son of Kong and stuff like that that's still out there. I'm not going to totally dismiss that because maybe they'll still run with it. Who knows? I'm not going to say no.
Bitch. After that movie, I was saying
Son of Kong. Son of Kong.
Yeah, he's son of a bitch. Changer. That's what he'd be. There you go. Ryan Pearson's going to subscribe. Love the atmosphere. Well, thank you very much, Ryan. We do this quite a bit, and we got some fun announcements coming up. So thank you very much, Ryan. And yeah, do the audio feeds as well. That's always a great way. You're going to gym or work or something, car ride. But yeah, I'm still so embarrassed for Khan after what they did to him in that movie. He just got fucked up so many times.
Yeah, he definitely got a little bit bludgeoned around. But yeah, I think doing a series for this, I think is great. We got the main storyline kind of established here, where we got Kong, Godzilla leading up to their climactic fight at the end of this arc. I think that's fantastic. So now we can kind of go off into this new adventure where I'm hoping, again, it's going to supposedly focus on Kong and Godzilla a little bit more, but diving into maybe them fighting other characters. I'm okay that we don't necessarily need Kong going forward for some of this stuff. I would love to see mostly just Godzilla fight another kaiju. I want to see him take on, like, get Dylan's Jet Jaguar in there. Right?
Oh yeah.
What was it? I think Megalon.
So Ryan Peterson. I don't think Kong in general.
There's so many characters.
I don't think Kong in general is a bitch. I'm a big King Kong guy. I was cheering for him all the way in Godzilla. I'm just saying his performance let me down. Now, obviously, that's the writers, but if we're going to have some fun, talk about this in a game time like it's a sport, King Kong's performance in Godzilla let me down. Godzilla wiped the floor with this man. As far as movies, I kind of prefer, like, it depends with each one, right? You get a great Kong and then a bad Zilla, a great Zilla, then a bad Kong. They're all over the place. But Kong was my guy, and I feel like Godzilla just took him down. But this was from, when did this? I think it was just on the Friday or some January 20. So on the Thursday. So Apple TV today announced a series order for a new original series from the legendary Monsterverse franchise. Following the thunderous battle between Godzilla and the Titans that leveled San Francisco, the shocking new reality that monsters are real, the series explores one family's journey to uncover its various secrets and legacy, linking them to the secret organization known as Monarch. Now, the Untitled Monarch series will be produced by legendary television, TV, and co-creators Chris Black, who did Outcast and Star Trek Enterprise, who also serves as showrunner. Let's see. Toho is the owner of Godzilla, blah, blah, blah. So my only thing, and it's much like the movies where lots of people dislike them for this reason, I'm going to say, obviously from the plot synopsis and just with history of what these movies have done so far, if you're expecting, hey, it's going to be a 6-episode monster mash and no, it's going to be lots of humans, lots of finding stuff, lots of looking around, lots of looking at CGI, acting scared, lots of discoveries. So I would prepare you for that. And that, especially after that plot synopsis, I hadn't read it. That's definitely going to be like a lot of these films where I feel like Godzilla vs. Kong was the most monster-based one they've done yet. I know King of Monsters, but still King of Monsters, you had the family in there and the drama. I feel like the fight was really, really monster-based. The show, and probably for budget reasons too, even though it's Apple, is going to heavily focus on, like it does say a family, but I mean like really heavily focused. Until you already love these movies, so I'm sure you're fine with that if we don't get much of the monsters and it's more about this family discovering secrets of Monarch or something.
Mm-hmm. I'm totally okay with it. I'm down to get into that kind of atmosphere and learn about it. Like I loved when they were discovering Mothra and it was just the team just kind of exploring and learning about this kaiju. I think it was fantastic. So I'm sold. I really am. This series is exactly what I need. I just have the series continue. This whole universe keep continuing on. That's just an absolute win for me.
Plus, I think they're going to do in a way where you get this show, but if they really want to do a movie, they could do a movie. But yeah, maybe Taylor will be dropping some solo reviews for this show. I don't know if I'm going to be... Actually, I'm not going to lie. I won't be joining you for these because I don't think I have enough interest to hold. But this is a show that I definitely will binge. I think when it's done, I'll do like what I did with Chucky and just say, okay, almost all episodes out, boom, 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 and then do it that way. So anything else you want to add on the Godzilla Monarch series?
No, I don't think I have anything else. It reminded me of like an old memory I have though. When I was, how old I would have been 12 years ago, would have been like 13 or 14. I think. Yeah, 13 or 14 maybe. I did a Godzilla and I labeled it as a documentary. I was just breaking out into the Windows Movie Maker world. I thought, okay, I'm just make a whole bunch of cool little clips and stuff, and I pieced together. Oh yeah, Ryan Peterson. Oh yeah.
Listeners, I'll explain why Taylor just said that sexually in a second after he finishes his story. So you just discovered Movie Maker. I discovered
Movie Maker, yeah. So I just took a bunch of pictures of like 50 Godzilla monsters and just put their names over top of them and just had them transitioning. And it's about a 7.5 minute video that I did, and it was up there for years. Somewhere? It's up there still. I'm never gonna share with anyone, but it's up there. I'm looking at it right now. Maybe I'll share.
You're looking at it right. You have access to it, and you're not showing us. Are you kidding me? I thought it was lost in the ether. Oh, you know what? Say this for. Put this in the notes. Say this for after 9.
I'll save this for an after 9. It's good because it was uploaded. Yeah, I came back to it. And I was like, this video has 2,671 views because I label it as a Godzilla documentary. And the first 2 comments. This is from 5 years ago and then 4 years ago. One guy says, "You lying stupid head, this is not a documentary." And the other guy says, "Stupid piece of crap, flashcards with crappy music."
So you're like the kids in Far From Home making the Avengers memorial video, but you're doing that with
Absolutely.
Godzilla. That's great. No, I got to write that in my notes here after 9 February, because I think people will really want to see that. So after 9 February. Oh man, I cannot spell right now. February. Oh my god. Okay. So, and then Taylor Field Godzilla video. Anyways, Taylor in the chat, Ryan Peterson, I respect it. He says, Peter Jackson made a blockbuster based on tragic literature with great heart and fandom. I personally think he made the greatest monster movie of all time, inspired by Notre Dame. Sorry, bad typing and Dutch. Greetings from Netherlands, and I'm a bit drunk. We appreciate all that. Thanks. Thank you for being from the Netherlands. Checking out. We always like people from different countries watching because it's always just fun stuff for us, and it's okay to be a bit drunk. I'm sure where you are, it's a great time, but it doesn't matter. As long as you're sitting at home, being safe, watching stuff like this, as long as you're not driving, I don't care where you get drunk. You know, maybe don't do it at work. They might not like that, but I would literally have to, because lots of people, I feel like the Peter Jackson one's very mixed. I know Dylan really, really likes it. I would have to, I got to watch that one again, but just in general, I'd really have to sit down and think about my favorite monster movie, because I think obviously, like you, or unlike you, who just like is such a massive fan, it sounds like Ryan is well too, of this franchise. I like the franchise, so I'd really have to sit down like, hey, I like this one. Oh, what's this? Where like a superhero movie, a horror movie, I can tell you, okay, boom, it's Nightmare on Elm Street or Shining. You know, oh, it's Logan, it's The Dark Knight. Easy rattle that off. So do you have, like I said, I'd have to think about it. Maybe I'll think about this in the future. Do you have like, what's your definitive the monster movie? You're on an island. You only pick one monster movie from a genre. What you picking?
Oh, that's tough. Oh.
You don't have it. We're gonna have to revisit this.
Like if like off the top of my head,
yeah.
Like off the top of my head, like I love Van Helsing as a monster movie. I really, really do. It's just got a little bit of everything. But like if I wanted to just have the action and just the satisfaction, I would legitimately go with Godzilla King of the Monsters. You get a little bit of everything. It's got so many scenes. I just love that movie. I ate it all up. I saw it many times in theaters. So
wow.
Yeah.
There you go, Ryan Peterson. I hope that answers your question there. So there you go. What a newscast. There are more Predator 1987, for example. Oh, 100%. I think I'm definitely in that sort of camp instead of the Godzilla Kong. Even though I like those movies, something like Predator, that'd probably be where I would lie in that. So and that's what I have to look at, what's a definitive monster movie and stuff like that. But no. Predator is fucking, that is
I didn't
movie.
count Predator. I counted it as like an alien sci-fi. I didn't know that was in the category here. So.
And it is tough, right? You could put it in that category of like an alien sci-fi. See, I don't look at a list and see like what the definitive is, but yeah, GV447 in the book. Later on this week, I will be back with Kirklin Patzer for GV448. And I should promote up top. I'm a bad boy, but I will start doing it at the beginning, because at the beginning I was just flustered, had lots going on. But yeah, we'll have Boba Fett going on, and then I think it should be releasing, if everything goes to plan, it should be releasing February 1st. We're going to be having our 2022 Town Hall, and you don't want to miss it. Now, I'm not trying to build up like this is game changing. Nothing's going to change as far as you guys, pretty much everything's the same. We got, some new stuff coming, some new information, some new content update, but there's a big landmark we want to celebrate. But as far as the content, you're going to be getting that geek goodness and whatnot. So it's all good news. That's all I'll say. It's all good news. And it's something that we can only do with your support. So in February, but it should be February 1st that we'll be revealing all this stuff, and I can't wait. So do you have anything to say before we get out of here?
That's everything.
That's everything. So everyone, we will see you next at the Boba Fett review, and we promise you, not be boring.